Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Awesemo.com NBA Deeper Dive presented by Prize Picks. I'm Dave Loughran, joined by Adam Scherer at Ship My Money DFS is where you can find that fine fella. Find me at Lafayette_D. What's good, bro? How we feeling?
Pretty good. Excited to talk about this slate again because I don't think anything's changed, but always fun to talk playoff basketball.
Yeah, it is. And not much has changed, I guess. I mean, we got some news, some potential news for tomorrow, but that's it. You got Atlanta, got at Miami coming off a brutal game. Minnesota upset victory, 13-point upset against Memphis in what used to be called the Grindhouse back in the Marc Gasol days. Who was it?
Tony
Marc
Allen.
Gasol, Mike Conley, Tony Allen.
Zebo.
Zebo. Chalmers was there for a little bit, I feel like, because I remember
OJ
when
Mayo, I think.
Was Mayo on the
I feel like he was. I mean, I'm also just kind of throwing out Grizzlies that played on the team at some point in the last 10 years, 20 years, but I think Mayo was there.
Whenever I think Mayo, I just immediately think Dallas. Wasn't Mayo in Dallas?
Oh yeah, I forgot he played for Dallas.
He did though, right? For some reason he had that viral, was it high school? Yeah, high school dunk, like to end the game, and he just started throwing. They threw the ball 100 seats up.
I don't remember. I mean, I remember that he was a monster in high school. I'm pretty sure that Bow Wow got recruited to USC because OJ Mayo said that he wouldn't come there unless they also brought him.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that was the story. Was they were really good friends, and that was part of his basically commitment to USC was they had to bring him too.
Huh. I don't know why I think about Mayo from Dallas. He did play he played all 82 games that one season, but he spent 4 seasons with Memphis and then 3 with.
Okay. Yeah. It wasn't Bow Wow, but I had it right.
He was only in the league.
I didn't have it right, but
he was only in the league for 8 years. OJ Mayo. He was supposed to be a star.
That's one of those it feels like he wasn't there that long, but then at the same time, it did feel like he was around forever. I don't know.
It does. It feels like he was around for a while. Oh, Mike said he had his best year in Dallas. That must be why I'm thinking of associating OJ Mayo with Dallas. Yeah, he averaged 15. Yeah, I guess one of his best years. Definitely one of his best years. Anyway, Memphis cruises to victory tonight or no?
You would think, but also their rotations last game kind of sucked.
But that's Taylor Jenkins, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
But I'm saying that's what he played 10 guys. One of them only played, I forget who it was, only played 9 minutes. Zaire Williams played 10 minutes. But Brandon Clark was the 4th guy off the bench, played 27 minutes. Melton played 14. Kyle Anderson played 21. Tyus Jones played 16. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've got 5 guys off the bench in a playoff game, I'm honestly not convinced that Jenkins does anything dramatically different today unless they're down early.
Yeah, I was trying to find it while you were talking and I couldn't, but one of the Memphis beat writers had said that based on what Jenkins had said, he basically is expecting a very similar first half rotation and then possibly a condensed second half rotation, which to me probably means maybe those 3 minutes and 15 seconds of Zaire Williams disappear in the second half.
All right. Well, I guess it's no better time than now to dive into this. Got live before a lot coming up next. I just ate a big dinner, and after I eat, sometimes it just the lethargy kicks in. Even though it was healthy, it was salmon with some asparagus, a little bit of rice. Not gonna lie, a little bit of white rice, but I don't know. You know that feeling, Adam, the post-eat feeling? Even sometimes if it's good food, if maybe you overindulge, you don't feel right afterwards.
Yeah, I think that, when you said that, I was thinking more along the lines of pasta than salmon, but
pasta will do it to you. Dude, a heavy bowl of pasta. I think it was all the white rice I just ate. I don't know. We'll get through it though. Lethargy. We got live before a lot coming up after this. You got Eric Lindquist, Greg Ehrenberg taking you all the way till 8:00. And then tomorrow we got a ton of stuff. You got live before lock for PGA. Well, we'll get into that tomorrow when it's pertinent, but let's dive into this one. Atlanta, I almost forgot. Hit that thumbs up. We're not even at 100 yet. We're at 99 likes with 770 people watching. Hit that thumbs up. Show us some love here and get us to, I don't know, 200 out of the gate. I think that's reasonable. That would be a decent ratio. And that only takes a second, helps us greatly. Appreciate you guys in advance. Subscribe to the channel too. Oh, and if you want to join, hit join down below. Get the free super chats each month, the custom emojis. What else? Oh, yeah, sweet badges. Get iced up at that 13 month. It's really 13 months, right, Jordan? It's not a year. They kind of lied to you. I had to wait an additional month as well. And we'll always prioritize your questions, comments along with our Discord members. And we got some great stuff coming up down the pike. Nick D, how old are you, Lofty? Like 60 something? Yes, I'm 60 something. I'm 60 something. No, I'm 22.
So, right. And chat's right. It was DeMar DeRozan that I was thinking of, not OJ Mayo, but OJ Mayo was also friends with him.
Oh, okay. Was it Bow Wow?
No, it was Romeo.
Oh, really? Yeah. I still listen to him to this. I was working out today. I just had Lil Romeo cranked.
Okay.
Atlanta, Miami. Let's do it. Do you listen to Lil Romeo? Is that why you didn't have a reaction? You probably do.
No, I don't.
That must have been it. You're like, dude, don't insult me. I'm
no,
sorry. I honestly didn't think you'd be a Lil Romeo fan. I thought
I was kind of surprised and taken aback. And then I was just like, whatever. And then as the silence got longer, I realized you were joking, but it had already been so long. That, like,
wait, do you really think that I would like crank Lil Romeo?
I said, I was surprised and taken aback.
I was listening to a band called Meshuggah, just a sick metal band. You wouldn't like them at all, but they will get you. They'll make you want to just kill somebody. Not that I ever would, but it makes you feel like if someone were to, they'd probably listen to them first. Right, Jordan? You know. Anyway, Atlanta and Miami. Let's dive into this before Jordan puts us in a deeper hole here. Jordan almost cut our stream off yesterday, Adam, with me and Josh, because he thought we were pushing the envelope. So he wasn't.
You and Josh? There's no way.
No, it wasn't. I mean, Josh gets in he started baiting people into political conversations. Like it was just.
Wait, Josh did?
Yeah. And people think he's political when he really has zero idea.
Right. That's why I was just like, I like, you don't do it. But if somebody was going to,
it would be me.
Bait someone into a political conversation between you and Josh, it's you.
But I don't.
Right.
And he's just like, yeah. So the Hawks today, they struggled mightily last game. When Trae Young's shooting poorly, it's very tough for this team to overcome that. And then you got like Bogdanovich 0 for 8 off the bench. They combined for 1 for 20 in that game. 1 for 20 in that game together. It's difficult to win basketball games like that, especially when you have, what some might consider a defensive anchor and Clint Capella sidelined again today. Probably going to miss the series, but we'll see. Are you looking for a bounce back today from Trae, or is at least a spot where you say, you know what, at this price, yeah, it's a bad matchup, but they got to win this game?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I expect a bounce back in that I think he's likely to play more than 28 minutes. I know someone in chat earlier asked why he only played 28 minutes. The answer is they just got the shit kicked out of them and he didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, I think you have to expect that he gets more than 28 and a half minutes here, even if it's not a particularly competitive game. It takes a pretty massive blowout for somebody like Trae Young to not play at all in the fourth quarter of a playoff game. So I think you can pretty safely expect more minutes. If the game's competitive, like to the end, he's probably getting 40 to 42. I think expecting like 36 to 38 is pretty reasonable. It's still a really difficult matchup, but his price tag did come down as well to 9,300. So I think he looks good. I think that there's also, I mean, you have Karl Anthony Towns for $200 more on DraftKings. You have John Morant for $500 more. There's a ton of guards that are less expensive. So I don't think he's a must play or anything like that, but I do think he's a good play. I think he's underpriced, and I do think he looks the best out of anybody on Atlanta, even factoring in salary. Yeah,
of course. And if you look at all of I think sometimes it's a helpful exercise when you and I kind of look at like who are the other high-priced options on the slate. You don't have, like, this is kind of a fun one because you don't have Giannis. Luka's not on the slate, and he actually might play in game 3, but he's not here. Embiid's not here. Jokic, KD, Irving, like all of the guys that have been 10K plus, and I'm sure I'm missing some. So the highest priced player, at least on DraftKings, is John Morant. And then you have Karl Anthony Towns, Trey Young, Booker, Butler, Chris Paul, Anthony Edwards, McCollum, a lot in that 8K range. Like Trey Young isn't necessarily one where there's an insane amount of opportunity cost here today either, right?
Yeah, I mean, there is still some just because of the other, strong pay up options and the fact that there's a lot of guards that are really cheap, but not as much as usual.
Who else do you think makes sense for the Hawks if we're looking? Because the problem with the Hawks is, generally speaking, you just get a lot of guys that look very similar, and all of them are viable, but it doesn't mean that they're all, great options, especially when you're going up against a slow-paced Miami team that plays great defense. Bam Adebayo obviously said that he's playing today, as we expected to be the case. So when it comes to Miami, first of all, what do you think the starting lineup looks like? I should have asked you that out of the gate.
I think, and my guess for right now is that we get the same starting lineup as last game. I wouldn't be shocked if John Collins replaced Akong Wu in the starting lineup. But the thing is, I think they would probably rather him be out there to close halves than to start them. And I'm kind of assuming he's still limited minutes wise. So if you're expecting 24 to 25 minutes from Collins, I think there's a decent chance that Akong Wu starts and just doesn't close.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. Does that mean that you're interested in getting to him today? Because that's where the question comes into play. It's like when we will get a starting lineup, there's the 7:30 game, right? It's an island game at 7:30. So I don't think we need to dive too deep into this, but we do have an hour to cover 3 games. So I don't mind if we do. It's just, you look at ownership on these guys from Herter up to DeAndre Hunter. Trey Young pulls away from the pack a little bit, but all of these guys are basically between 14 and 22% on, which isn't all that different.
Right. And I think that's pretty much deserved. Looking at my projections for these guys where they're color coded, everything's basically the same color, whether you're talking about Bogdanovich, Gallo, Hunter, Herter. I do think that it's worth noting that if this game is competitive, there's a pretty good chance that you get a condensed rotation here. Last game, TLC played 14 and a half minutes, but he played the final 14 and a half minutes of the game. He didn't play at all in the first half. Whereas, DeAndre Hunter played almost 35 minutes, lost the final 5 minutes of the game. Kevin Herter only played 23 minutes, but he had some foul trouble early on. He could have played more. Bogdanovich played, 26 minutes, but didn't play the final 7.5 minutes of the game. He picked up a couple minutes from Herter with that foul trouble as well. But the point being that if this game is competitive, you could very easily just not have TLC play, or, if it, with 2 minutes to go, if it's garbage time or whatever he subs in then, you could conceivably get, 36 plus minutes from Hunter. You could get 34 from Herter, 32 apiece from Gallo and Bogdanovich, if not more. So there is upside at these cheap price tags, but the risk and the reason why they're not getting more ownership is, for one, it's still a really difficult matchup. One, in terms of just Miami being a very good team defensively. Two, you can't guarantee this game is competitive to the end. Miami is clearly the superior team here, and you could get, a pretty ugly game again. And then three, even if you tell me this game's competitive to the end, I think Bogdanovich would be the guy that I want the most, but it's still, when you think about the salaries, you look at the pricing, DeAndre Hunter is really cheap. I think he probably, in a competitive game, plays the most minutes of this group. Kevin Herter is pretty cheap. Bogdanovich is the best point per minute guy, but he's the most expensive. So I think all of Bogdanovich, Gallinari, Hunter, and Herter at their respective salaries are very, very comparable, and I don't really have a strong lean on where I want to be. It's more so just they'll all end up in some lineups here and there.
Power Books, thank you for the super chat. Jordan, I'm just going to assume that comment down below was part of the super chat that was not attached to anything. Bow wow, yippee, big ship in the house, playing on FanDuel, 222 multi-entry, $2.22 multi-entry, top contrarian value plays. I hate when you guys ask these questions so early in the show, but that's okay. It's not your fault, and I don't hold it against you. All right, give me your top value and your top contrarian play. It is early, but that's okay. I'll allow it.
Yeah. So just as far as contrarian goes, looking at the boom bust tool for DraftKings, which is not helpful. I mean, we have the Anthony Melton going under owned. I don't really love that one. As far as guys that I think I would kind of like. Herbert Jones at 4,700 seems pretty interesting. Like I think he plays a lot of minutes here. In terms of just like actual value on FanDuel, Dylan Brooks at 5,300 is insanely cheap. I expect that he'll have plenty of ownership, but he looks really good. Similarly, Desmond Bain at 5,600. Steven Adams at 4,600, I think is pretty interesting. Didn't play a ton of minutes last game, but I do think that there is some volatility there, and so maybe you won't get quite as much ownership. Right now, we have Adams projected on FanDuel for 23% ownership, so I think that he's a pretty decent value as well. That's getting some ownership, but not a ton.
My filler arc with the super chat. Laffy, did you have a drink of Ensure with your 2 p.m. Pacific time dinner? Adam, is Malik Beasley worth a shot? Well, I live on the East Coast, so no, I didn't. I don't know what's wrong with a 5:20 p.m. dinner when you have a 5:30 to 6:30 show. I think it's a wise decision, actually. So I don't know. But anyway, is Malik Beasley worth a shot?
Yeah, sure. He played 30 minutes last game. It's not one that I have a lot of confidence in. Like, I don't think I'm building around Malik Beasley or anything, but 3-game slate, 4,700 on DraftKings. If you get a little bit, that's fine.
Curiosity Seeker says, what's the deal with Oladipo? Why didn't he play? He's not in the rotation.
Yeah, he's not in the rotation. He messes up their spacing. He's not particularly healthy / good at this point. Yeah, they kind of tested him out during the regular season, weren't happy with how things looked as far as his fit with the rest of the team, and then they kicked his ass back to the bench.
Yeah. Joshua says, 5 p.m. dinner is unthinkable for most of us with traditional jobs. Well, this ain't a traditional job, fella.
It's unthinkable for me too, because I'm just starving by like 8 p.m.
Yeah, but for me, it's not really like dinner because I eat weird. I actually try not to eat breakfast, right? Because you don't eat breakfast, then you're not as hungry until a certain point in the day.
Right.
Like if you eat breakfast, you're actually hungrier quicker. Just a fact, right?
Yeah.
But so I generally try, I might do like a hard-boiled egg or something, but usually I steer clear. I eat around, I don't know, noon, 12:30 usually for the first time. And I feel good. And then I'll eat like 3 times in between then and 6. You know, sometimes I'll do a bowl of cereal before I go to bed. That's the killer right there. What are you looking at, Jordan? I don't drink milk with my cereal like Adam. I just like, I don't eat cereal in the morning. I eat cereal at night. It's the way to do it. Dude, cereal is a great late night snack. Anyone who says any differently, you're an imbecile. I mean, a great late night snack. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried it yet, get your favorite cereal, have it at night, and you'll thank me. I've never steered anyone wrong here. All right. Anybody else for Atlanta you want to talk about before we move to Miami?
Yeah, I mean, so Akong Wu, because I'd seen people mention him, the rotation that he played last game makes me, so it's interesting because he played 15 minutes in the first half. But so, you could draw the conclusion that if this game's competitive, he's playing 30 minutes. The issue I have with that is that he wasn't playing alongside John Collins. And as I'd mentioned before, I expect that they would rather have Collins closing this game than Akong Wu. So I think it's likely that you get around 24 apiece from those guys. And it just makes it difficult for me to get to either one if I'm expecting them to basically split 48 minutes.
Okay. Let's talk about Miami. And by the way, the whole breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It was an ad campaign created by a cereal company to convince you to eat breakfast. It's not even true. So keep that shit out of here. I mean, I'm serious. Look it up. It is 100% true. It was created as an ad campaign to get people to eat breakfast. And my God, they did a heck of a job. All right, let's talk about Miami here. And listen, we got an hour. If I'm not filling time, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Miami Heat, Bam's expected to play. This is an interesting team just because Butler's another one of those many 8K players today. And I'm wondering how you prioritize them.
Yeah, and it's an interesting team too, because I don't have a really good feel for what the rotation looks like because we just got such kind of a wacky rotation last game because it was a non-competitive game. So I think Butler looks very good here. I think he's in that same conversation with guys like Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum that are a little bit cheaper. Anthony Edwards, a little bit cheaper, I think is kind of a step behind Butler, but certainly could still beat him. But I think in that range that Butler, McCollum, and Ingram are the guys that I get to first.
Okay.
Because oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying someone just referenced Carson Wentz being on the show. So you're not the only one who thinks that you look like Carson Wentz.
Yeah. Whoever it was, I don't remember who it was anymore, that Dan posted in our chat the other day was a really good one.
I don't even know if it was a person I've ever heard of.
I'd heard of him. I just don't remember. I couldn't even tell you what sport he played now.
Maybe
He was a hockey player. Oh, it was Morgan
hockey
Riley,
player?
hockey player. Yeah.
Oh, I know who that is.
Yeah, but that was like I opened the chat to say something and I saw the picture. I didn't even see what Dan had said. I was just like, he's saying this guy looks like me because he does look like me. So yeah, that was a good one. But I just think Butler's underpriced here. You know, he played 33 to 34 minutes last game, didn't play the final 5 minutes of the game. If this game is competitive, I'm expecting upper 30s in playing time. And if it's not competitive, then there's a pretty good chance that Jimmy Butler has a solid game, just because, you know, it would mean that Miami blew out Atlanta again. So at the reduced price tag, he looks good. Bam, you know, the only real condition, the only real questions there are, you know, what kind of shape is he in conditioning wise? What, you know, is that quad injury legitimate? But otherwise, you know, 7,600 for Bam is just a ridiculously cheap price tag. So those two really stand out. Then I think you get to Tyler Hero and Kyle Lowry as secondary options. Lowry probably plays 34 to 36 minutes if this game's competitive. 16.5% usage rate, 28% assist percentage in the games he played with Butler, Bam, and Hero this year. So not somebody that you're expecting to really take over offensively, but you're still talking 0.9 to 1 fantasy points per minute at only 6,300. And then Hero is kind of like the opposite, where it's really difficult to feel super confident in his minutes. He only played about 23 minutes last game, but he didn't close the first half. He lost the final 5 minutes of the game. It's not hard to see how in a more competitive game you could get 30 to 32 minutes from Hero. And he's the one, whereas like Lowry is kind of like you're more steady. He's just going to accumulate stats, probably not do anything too exciting. Hero can certainly let you down, but he's also more likely to, you know, of the two, to just go out there and drop 45 fantasy points, because we've seen what happens when Tyler Hero gets hot and takes over a playoff game. So I think they're kind of two opposite plays, but both similar in that they're probably going to get a bit less ownership than their teammates and still offer plenty of upside.
Duncan Robinson last game just popped off. 9 for 10, 8 of 9 from 3. Only played 23 minutes though. Just round these guys out. if you hadn't touched on all of them yet, if you did, my apologies. Chat's flying right now. I'm trying to keep up. PJ Tucker, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson. Robinson's getting no ownership whatsoever. Obviously, him and Strus are essentially the same price, but Strus played 25 minutes last game, only 2 more than Robinson. PJ Tucker's a little bit cheaper than both of them. They're all within $300 of each other. He played 24 minutes. So, you know, they all played 1 minute above the other, but ownership is wildly different from Tucker and Strus down to someone like Robinson.
Yeah, and I mean the thing with Robinson is like he played well. He got those 22 minutes. Maybe if the game if the game stays competitive, maybe he closes and gets 26, 27. But the playing time's still really volatile. And if you give him, let's say, an average of 24 minutes, he's kind of just mediocre at 4,200. Like if you're playing 150 lineups, sure, maybe you get a little bit, but I wouldn't feel confident, and I don't think he's particularly underpriced here. Same goes for Max Strus, who ended up playing 25 minutes in that game, but he got 5 minutes of garbage time. There's a real chance that he just plays 20 minutes, like especially if Duncan Robinson's playing well. Strus could just play 20 minutes. I think on average, you're probably getting around 24, just because I think on average you get some games where Robinson can't shoot, as we've seen for most of this year, and Strus comes back in. Other games where you know, Robinson does shoot well and he gets more minutes, but the price tag's kind of elevated on both guys. I think the PJ Tucker is a little bit easier to get to at 3,900 just because, you know, he is a little bit cheaper. But even Tucker, you know, he had a good game last time out. But overall this year, in the games that he's played with all of Butler, Bam, Hero, and Lowry, you're talking about a 9.5% usage rate, a 10% rebounding percentage, 9% assist percentage. And you can't really count on more than like 28 to 30 minutes here. So it's difficult to really prioritize him either, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just wondering, could you see a closing lineup with like Butler, Lowry, Bam, Robinson, and Hero?
What was it?
Like, could you see a closing lineup that doesn't have Strus and also doesn't have Tucker in it?
You could, yeah, because you could just get.
I'm saying Tyler Hero and Robinson in there, right?
Right. Yeah. It would just mean that Robinson closes over Strus and Tucker, basically, because in a competitive game, you assume that all of Lowry, Hero, Bam, and Butler are closing.
Ryan Houston, yes, 100% I can hold my breath for 4 minutes with the Wim Hof method. 4 minutes, one shot, guarantee it. I'll prove it to you. Guarantee
You can hold your breath for 4 minutes?
100%. Why would I make that up? It's not that impressive to be like,
why do you know that?
Because I've timed myself. It's the Wim Hof breathing method.
I don't know what that means.
Wim Hof, the Iceman, climbed summits mountains in nothing but shorts and no shoes, the tops of ice-covered mountains. Oh, God, you're missing out. Missing out. I'm not MJ. I'm not doing it now. No, you gotta prepare for it. I'll show you. I promise you guys. I should bring.
So do cigarettes help you prepare?
Isn't that crazy? That's the craziest part, right? Like, who would have thought? I was thinking that'd be the greatest hustle in the world. Just like put one out, be like, bet I can hold my breath longer than you,
right?
And then crush them. I don't care. You don't have to believe it. This is stone cold facts. I'll find a way to prove it. Jordan,
no, I believe you for the reason you said. Like, why would you lie about
why
this?
would I just be like, hey, I can hold my breath for 4 minutes? Exactly.
Right.
Well, try it. I'm going to send you the method just tonight when you're laying in bed, maybe a nice victory where you're licking your wounds. I'm going to send this to you. Just try it. Just try it. It's a 10-minute video, guided breathing. You're going to love it. You feel awesome too. Releases some dimethyltryptamine and you start ripping.
I set the over under for myself at like 60 seconds.
No, you'll get over 2 minutes on your first try. I got over 3 minutes on my first try. And now I pushed myself, right? Like, but I guarantee you'll get over 2 minutes on your first try. Guarantee.
Somebody said, or it's a lie to make it seem like, why would I lie? Why would I lie about this? Yeah. This is your response to the Joval question where like, this is where you just pick like the middle and you're just like, yeah, I definitely can't do this, but why would I lie about it?
But it's not, because this is not the middle. This is an extreme. I get good lungs. I'm telling you, man, you don't have to believe me. It's okay. I'm insulted and I will remember this. And, I feel slighted, but I'm going to let it go.
Somebody said Adam is not trying that shit in all caps. 100% correct.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, I guarantee.
Truest thing I've seen in this chat.
You'll do it. I guarantee you, Adam will hit me up at like 2 a.m. and go, I got 2.5 minutes. I guarantee it. You'll do it.
If that happens, it probably means that I was at the bar for like 4 hours beforehand.
Yeah, if you do it drunk, you're going to fail. All right. Minnesota, I've tried. Minnesota and Memphis, +7 on the road, coming off a big win, 240 total. And Memphis, I think Memphis, I don't want to say they cruise in this game because I love Edwards and, Towns looked excellent last game. These guys are playing huge minutes. Minnesota is a good team. And I think Finch deserves some love too. I'm not saying, you give him coach of the year, but that dude's done a great job with this squad. Minnesota though, tonight, Towns is another one of those high priced guys that I alluded to earlier. And at 9,500, if he comes up and plays another 40 plus minutes today, I don't really care if Memphis is good defensively. These two teams are the first and fourth fastest, Minnesota and Memphis, respectively, in the league this season. They're 106 possessions per last game. They're just like an insanely fast-paced game, 240-point total. If Towns is out there for 40-plus minutes, it's really hard not to like everything about that.
Yeah, for sure. And he's cheap, so it's just, he's someone that we know physically can play a ton of minutes as long as he's able to avoid foul trouble. And you don't have to give him those 42 minutes for him to look really good at 9,500. Even if you just give him like 38 to account for things like blowouts and foul trouble, he still looks very, very good at 9,500. Certainly looks like one of the highest projected guys on the slate.
Mr. Bubble said, dude wondering why his stomach hurt. He just ate 3 full salmon fish. It's just, just 3 pieces of salmon. You don't have to say 3 full salmon fish. And held his breath.
Do people call it salmon fish?
What?
Do people call it salmon fish?
He did. Could you imagine being like, what's your favorite food? I like pizza. Oh, I like cheeseburgers. I like salmon fish.
Salmon fish.
What? Oh, I love this salmon fish. I guess some people call it tuna fish, right? But even so.
Yeah. So I think of tuna fish as like the canned shit, and then tuna is like the steaks.
Right. Yeah.
Or like ahi.
Yeah, it's kind of odd, right? Kind of odd.
But like, yeah, that's how I think of it. Like tuna fish is like the specific like tuna fish, and then like tuna is like the good meal.
Right.
Food.
Benny said, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I prefer trout fish. All right. What do you do with Edwards today as a guy that you can't really prioritize, but you know that the ceiling is proven time and time again? This guy has a legitimately high ceiling.
Yeah, I think you really want to pay attention to ownership on Edwards here compared to the other guys in that price range that we talked about. Jimmy Butler, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, I think all more likely to succeed, but you have 31% ownership coming into Ingram. You have 28% coming to McCollum, 22% to Butler, right now 19% to Edwards. To me, I probably don't get to a ton of Edwards if that holds. I probably just play more of those other guys that I think project a little bit better. But if that ownership were to kind of spread out, then I think getting to Edwards makes a lot of sense. Also, I think this is a situation where maybe you do see it kind of shake out this way in your lower stakes, larger field tournaments, but in your three maxes, your single entry, your higher stakes tournaments, you see more of that ownership coming to Ingram, less of it going to Edwards. So, maybe it's a spot where, like, for me personally, maybe I play Edwards in like the 1K and then I barely have any in the $20 or something like that. I think you could see pretty drastic differences on him in particular, depending on what type of tournament and what buy-in you're playing.
How do we want to approach, how do we want to approach Jared Vanderbilt today? Played 18 minutes last game, but in the play-in games, it looked a little bit different than that. And I don't know how much of it was just hold on. I don't know how much of it was Jaden McDaniels. I got to just get through this, playing well. But yeah, he played 27 minutes and then he played 19 minutes. So what are you laughing at?
Chicken Bird is good too.
Yeah, that's real good. That's real good. That's real good. Yeah. Now I'm just reading because this is, once you get chat going, you start getting some real good answers that I wish I thought of. Picasso TV hit for 6K last night. Thanks to you guys. And Kleba about to grab my 9 Laffy D. Go for it, bro. Congrats, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, Maxi was insane. So congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah. So to answer what I think you asked me about Jared Vanderbilt,
I'm basically asking you, how do we have any idea what his minutes look like?
You don't. He's basically PJ Tucker in that he's a better point per minute guy than Tucker. Like, if you tell me that Vanderbilt and Tucker are playing the same minutes at the same price, you're just going to Vanderbilt. But Vanderbilt has more question marks about his playing time because, like, he wasn't in foul trouble or anything last game. You just saw McDaniels take minutes. Taurean Prince was in the rotation. He played 12 minutes. So you have that risk. Whereas Tucker, you have a better feel for how many minutes he's going to play, but you have no idea what the hell he's going to do when he's on the floor. Vanderbilt, kind of the opposite, but it comes out in the wash where they both project like 18 to 20 DraftKings points at 3,900. They both look like pretty good value options. They're both getting some ownership. The one thing I will say about them is that, for one, there's a couple of plays that are getting similar or lower ownership that I think look very similar. But also on this particular slate, I don't know how necessary they are. Like, you can build some very, very strong, relatively balanced lineups tonight because the most expensive player on the slate, at least on DraftKings, is John Morant at 9,800. There's only 3 guys above 9K. So it's not like you're trying to force in a Giannis or a Jokic or an Embiid. You don't necessarily have to take too many risks on shitty options that are also popular.
For sure. So, we went off the rails and I completely forgot what was supposed to be done. A couple of things. First of all, hit that thumbs up. We're at 323. That's not bad. 1,700 viewers right now. 500's the goal. Help us get there. If you enjoy this stuff, it only takes a second. So appreciate you, all of you that help support this channel and keep things going. Help us continue to be the best DFS stuff out there. Also, free content on the site today. NBA player projections, free. MLB main slate ownership, free. PGA golfer rankings, free. NHL ownership projections, also free. We got a lot today. And if you're interested, you can go to awesemo.com/join, check out everything we have, whether you want to get the NBA package with playoffs or just do an all out Awesemo plus platinum month. I'll tell you how you can get that in a minute for basically free. It's a $90 value, but it's top stacks, top pitchers tool for baseball projections, ownership, you name it, lineup builder, everything, all of our tools, everything included on the site. Baseball, basketball, USFL, we got projections for now, NASCAR, MMA, PGA, esports. I'm sure I'm forgetting sports, but we got them all. If they have contests out there, we got content. So
USFL.
check it. I mentioned that already, but thank you for the input. We are we're doing big things over there. We'd love to have you join us. And we got the premium Discord as well. So check that out. You got a great community and the office hours with all the pros from Awesemo helping you better your game in the office hours Discord channel. All right. So talk to me about is there anything else for Minnesota that's worth us taking shots on? You mentioned Beazley. Like, are there any good tournament plays here?
Yeah. I mean, mention Beasley just as like somebody that you're not going to get excited about. But for example, he's somebody that he's getting 8% ownership on DraftKings right now. Vanderbilt's getting 23. Beasley is $800 more expensive. So it's not like you can just sub him into every lineup you would want to play Vanderbilt, but there's going to be some that you can, and he's just a fraction of the ownership. Similarly, if you do need to live in that Vanderbilt price range, it is worth noting that Vanderbilt's at 23%, McDaniels is at 7%. McDaniels isn't as good a point per minute guy, but if he plays 26 minutes, he's probably taking some minutes from Vanderbilt. So, that's a play where it's not a high probability play and you shouldn't be getting a lot, but it's at least worth mentioning. But then as far as like actual players go, D'Angelo Russell at 20%, Beverly at 20%. Both of those guys are reasonable. Russell's price tag has come down to 7,100. Beverly's likely to play 28 to 30 minutes as long as he can avoid fouling out. So they both look okay. Neither one's somebody that I'm like truly building around, but also not particularly popular for a 3-game slate.
Do we have any super chats I missed, Jordan? I think we got them, right? I think we're caught up. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Jordan Klein producing the show today. Fella always doing a great job. So Memphis, on the other hand, we talked about it just kind of to kick off the show before we even got into these games, right? Taylor Jenkins is going to do things that we don't love. I think even in the playoffs, especially in the first round, especially if they've got, if it's a close game or they've got a lead here. When you look at the minutes from last time out, you had Jaren Jackson played 24. Was he in foul trouble at all? I mean, I have to ask because he usually is. He was. He caught his third.
My answer is almost definitely going to be yes, but
no, he was.
Yeah, he fouled out.
Yeah, no, but he caught his third 2 minutes into the second quarter.
Right.
And then he had the fourth. Let's see. Caught that fifth to start the fourth. And yeah, so Jaren Jackson doing what Jaren Jackson does. So he would have played more minutes. He didn't foul out. He had 5. I'm not convinced that
Add more funds had him with 6.
Oh, really?
But I think, 5. Yeah, you're right. He didn't pick up a last one.
Either way, I mean, unimportant. He was in like significant foul trouble. Brooks played 35. Bain played 33. Morant played 35. Adams played 24. And of course you had Brandon Clark playing off the bench 27 minutes. Are you giving any of these guys more minutes than they played last game? Not including Jaren Jackson and maybe Steven Adams.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I went 36 on Morant. I went 35 apiece on Bain and Brooks. I think you could also just make the case for like 34 on Bain, 36 on Brooks, something like that. I went 28 on Jackson just because I'm sure Memphis would love for him to play more, but good luck. And then Adams, I went 26. He's another one where like I don't really know. People have mentioned it in chat, and they're right. Like Adams hasn't played a lot of minutes against Minnesota in general this year, but I also don't think that like Brandon Clark is some magical answer to slowing down Towns either, because he's not. So, I'm not projecting 30 minutes from Adams, but I think something like 26 Adams, 22 Clark is pretty reasonable, and it makes it so Adams looks okay, but Clark looks a lot better just because he's cheaper.
I'm trying to figure out what this Ellie's Fun World character is doing in chat right now. Just random, fun, vibrant emojis every 30 seconds. Jordan, if this continues, we might need to, and I'm not somebody, we let people slide here, but we might need to say goodbye. I mean, or it's not too frequent, but I don't know. Is it a bot, you think? You're muted.
Are you talking to me?
It could be a bot. I have no clue. It's a bit like more like emojis right now. got an
Look,
egg.
she's coming in
Yeah.
hot with an egg, a piece of bacon, and
Yeah.
it looks like a delicious stack of flapjacks.
Yeah. So I don't know. It definitely isn't a bot because they just keep going. Look at that.
Huh.
I'll take care of them though if they keep going.
It's fine. It's funny because it's not even at spam level right now. It's just, here comes I shouldn't have said a damn word. All right. Here we go. So then now that we got an idea on what the rotation or what we think it looks like, Brooks, Bain, the one thing is like, okay, these guys might not get 40 plus minutes, but all of them are at that 6K range or lower, not named John Morant. Like everybody from Jaren Jackson down is 6,500 or cheaper.
Yeah, and it makes them look pretty good. I mean, Bain and Brooks, I think, looked the best, particularly on FanDuel, which we mentioned earlier. But 6,200 for Brooks, I mean, he's got a 26.5% usage rate in the games he's played this year with Bain, Jackson, and Morant. He's certainly not afraid to shoot. He's going to be out there for a lot of minutes as long as he doesn't get in foul trouble. Desmond Bain is the more efficient scorer, but doesn't shoot as frequently as Brooks. He only has a 20.5% usage rate in those games, but still, around a 1 fantasy point per minute guy at 6,400, certainly somebody you can get to. Jaren Jackson is just a huge wild card because if he could avoid foul trouble, I'm sure they would like him to play a bunch of minutes, but you just can't count on it. And then Morant, I think is up there with Karl Anthony Towns, neck and neck to be the top projected guy on the slate. It just comes down to, do you want to pay $9,800 for John Morant, or do you want to save $1,700 and play CJ McCollum, or save $500 and play Trey Young, or go to one of the Miami guards or something like that? So Phoenix has guards as well that are cheaper than Morant. So very, very deep guard position that makes it tough to prioritize paying all the way up for Morant, even though he does look really good.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. My filler arc with the super chat. One more: Morant and Beasley or Edwards and Russell.
That kind of illustrates what my point is on Morant. Like, I like him a lot, but when you can upgrade Malik Beasley to D'Angelo Russell and still keep somebody like Anthony Edwards, it says a lot.
Yep.
So from an upside standpoint, I think it's the Edwards Russell one. I mean, I think they're pretty similar because Morant does project quite a bit better than Edwards and Russell. But if this game, hits its total and is competitive to the end, especially like if this game played out where like Karl Anthony Towns is in foul trouble or somehow Memphis is slowing him down. I don't know how they do that, but if somehow they're slowing him down and, they lean on Russell and Edwards offensively, like those guys can each go for 50. Whereas like you cannot get 100 points from John Morant and Malik Beasley, I don't think.
No, you could, yeah, but you're right. You could definitely, and yeah, Edwards and Russell on the same team, obviously, but 2-4, like it's a very high total. You can get big production from both those guys, especially like you said, if something happened where Towns was in foul trouble. I get it. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, from a medium projection standpoint, for whatever it's worth, I have Beasley, Morant at like 74, and I have Edwards and Russell at like 75. So I mean, it's very similar. But I just kind of think that if you're talking like a true ceiling, it's not likely that either of them reach it, obviously. But like, I think there's a better chance you get 2 50-point games from Edwards Russell than that you get like 70 and 30 from Morant and Beasley.
Right. No, I agree. Do you want to move on from Memphis, or did you want to figure anything else out here before we close it out with the Pels and the Suns?
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of mentioned it with Adams and Clark. I don't think that you can just completely write off Steven Adams. Like, for example, in the last game of the regular season that he played against Minnesota, he did play 27 minutes. But given that he's only a center and that he is more expensive than Clark, even if you do kind of shave a few minutes off of Clark and give them to Adams, and you do something like 25-23 Adams or 26-22 Adams, it's still going to make Clark look like the better option just because of power forward eligibility and because of the cheaper price tag.
All right.
Also, Brandon Clark right now on DraftKings projected for 24% ownership, $500 more than Jared Vanderbilt at 22%. Give me Brandon Clark like 100 times out of 100, as long as I can realistically find those $500.
Yeah, and even on a per minute basis, Brandon Clark is well over a fantasy point per minute this season. Like, he's actually a good fantasy producer. So. What's Vanderbilt's per minute production on the year? He's
But off
like
the top of my
point.
head, I think it's like
like-
0.8.
I was gonna say like 0.85 or something. It's not important. I get what you're saying.
I'll have it in a second.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'll let you know when I have it. It's just
Okay.
loading.
Anyway, this show's been
0.89.
okay. 0.8. This show's been wild today. I love every second of it. I also love that when you sign up for Prize Picks, I mentioned this, I teased it a little bit, one might say, in the biz. If you sign up at Prize Picks with the link in the description or the one that Jordan Klein's about to throw in the chat right now, you will get a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. $90 value. All the tools I talked about like 10 minutes ago, everything, every sport, free month for no strings attached. One free month, and you get a deposit match up to $100 when you sign up and make your first deposit over there at Prize Picks using the promo code Awesemo, AWESEMO. So, I mean, what is there not to like about that? Double incentive, free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. We have the player prop tools over there. We have Odd Shopper. We have the Prize Picks prop tool, all of that good stuff. And at Prize Picks, you're just you're making lineups with, I guess you could call them lineups. Really, it's like a parlay in a sense. You're doing like 2 through 5, except in the traditional sense of a parlay, if you miss a leg, you're not winning anything. Prize Picks, if you hit 4 or 5, you still double your money. You 10x if you hit 5 of 5. If you hit 3 of 5, you can still make some money back. You can do cross sport lineups as well. So if you wanted to do baseball, basketball, throw whatever else it is you like into a 4 or 5 player lineup, you can do that as well. So a lot of different ways to do it over there. A lot of different ways to play, a ton of different sports. Use the promo code Awesemo when you sign up and get up to $100 match deposit bonus. And the biggest thing is use the link, get a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, $90 value. That's all you have to do. Sign up. I think it's deposit like $10 or something, or however much you want. And you're in. All of our tools for all of our sites over there at Awesemo included when you sign up at Prize Picks, sponsor of the Deeper Dive. All right. Pelicans. 25 rebounds for Jonas last time.
Yeah, that's a few more than 4.
Yeah. By the way, people wonder why we have to get sidetracked sometimes. You and I literally did the strategy show together this morning. There's only so much we can do.
Yeah, same show.
Yeah. Except this one's a little bit more fun. That's all. I'm not as good in the morning, admittedly.
I mean, I had just drove an hour and had been in my apartment for 3 minutes when we started. So, yeah.
Right. So, admittedly, you are not either. But with tonight, the Pelicans, Jonas, Ingram, excuse me, and McCollum. I want to start at Ingram because there were those comments in chat today. Someone actually made an outrageous comment saying that Ingram won't even get to 15 fantasy points, and it wouldn't matter.
I think they meant real points, but either way.
Did he say real points?
I don't know what he said, but
I thought he said DraftKings points. But I'm happy to be wrong about this. I'd like to be wrong because it's such an egregious statement. But the conversation that you and I were having, it's no one's arguing that it's a good spot for Brandon Ingram. We were talking about price point. And yes, while it's a difficult matchup, he is in a spot where, he played 39 minutes last game and is still going to get up a lot of shots at sub 8K. So the matchup's a little bit less relevant here.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and I mean, we talk about this all regular season long. Price matters, opportunity matters, matchup matters, but the reason that we say that it doesn't, like normally when you're breaking down a game, you say it doesn't matter as much, is because it's factored into the projection. It's incorporated in the game total, it's incorporated in the line. Like it's not like it's not like the Vegas line is just blindly picked out of a hat and nobody knows Phoenix is good defensively. But you're still projecting like the percentage of shots, the percentage of the offense really that Brandon Ingram's going to account for. And even if he's inefficient at a $7,900 price tag, because that's basically the thing, like good defense typically is just going to mean less efficiency offensively. Once in a while, it means that a particular player's usage will go down and kind of get taken out of a game. But that's not what we're talking about here. You're just talking about Ingram being less likely to have an efficient game against Phoenix, but that doesn't matter that much when he's $7,900, likely to play 38 to 40 minutes. he shot 6 for 17 last game. Obviously, you would like him to shoot more than 33%, but he can shoot more than 33% and still have a relatively inefficient game by his standards. And it's just a situation where you're talking about somebody that's going to have like a 27 to 30% usage rate. He's going to play 38 to 40 minutes. He's only 7,900. Brandon Ingram, given those rates and those minutes, is like a $9,000+ player. So him being at 7,900 against Phoenix, you're basically getting a $1,000 discount for the matchup. So you don't have to then say, yeah, but he's playing Phoenix.
Exactly. Hey, I have a question for you real quick. What were those protests about? One was an animal rights activist, right? The one that tried to glue herself to the floor.
Yeah, I have no idea.
The other one like chained herself to the basket.
It said some guy's name and it said like burns animals alive or something like that. So it's the same.
Yeah, it said like Glenn Taylor burns animals alive.
Well, fuck that guy. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't know if that was an effective method that you used. Jordan, if you were going to protest at an NBA game, how would you do it?
I probably would rush to the floor and definitely glue my hand to the middle of the court.
You just stole one of the only two things we've seen.
I honestly have no idea. I can't think of anything. I have no idea. I would streak across the court naked.
Paint a message.
Paint my body. Yeah, paint my body somewhere in some way. Yeah.
Okay. Would you scream?
Oh, absolutely. You're on the court. You're yelling for your life. Someone's chasing you around. Yeah.
Dude, next time the Clippers are in the playoffs, promise me you'll have a cause.
Oh, I'll be there.
100%. Okay. $10 super chat from I Hustle For It. I'm using Fantasy Cruncher for FanDuel, wondering how far back will you stray from the optimal lineup? 320 optimal. How many points would you feel safe going back? Oh, I see what he's saying, Adam. 290, 300, you get the question.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for it because I just I don't look at it. I don't think of it that way. So I can't I don't want to say, 300 because I have no idea if that's like a good answer or not. For me, I just know in the way that I build my lineups that I'm going to get a good mix I'm going to get the best mix I can of ownership and projection, basically. And whatever that comes out to, that's what I'm going to play. That's what I'm fine with. But it's one of those things where you should mess around in lineup rewind and kind of just look at what different lineups look like. You can compare what their projected ownership is, what their projection is, stuff like that, and get a feel for where you want to be. Because I don't think there's a right answer to that question. It's kind of just figuring out how to get Fantasy Cruncher to give you the lineups that you're looking for. And so for me personally, I don't look at that. I have no idea how close I come to the optimal. I would assume that it's not too far off, but again, I don't want to say, I don't go more than 10 points off when that's probably a lie because I have no idea.
Okay. And I thought we had one more. Yeah. Olrat 14. Would you play Paul Edwards and Morant at lower ownership over McCollum, Butler, Ingram, and even Towns? I'm having trouble. Is he talking about would you play any of the three of them over those? Because that's a 3v4.
Yeah, I'm confused what the question means. If we're just saying individually, yeah, because all of those are very clearly good plays. Right. So I would say that the McCollum, Butler, Ingram, Towns group is the one that is more likely, for lack of a better word, to be my core. If you go into my lineups and lineup study tomorrow, I would assume that my ownership percentages, my exposures to those guys is higher than for Paul Edwards and Morant. But Paul Edwards and Morant are all really good options where, say you're looking at your single entry lineup and it's okay, well, my lineup is just all popular guys. I need to move a couple pieces around without sacrificing upside, but maybe sacrifice a little bit in terms of median projection to lower my ownership. That's where guys like Paul Edwards and Morant all come in. So if that's what you're asking, then my answer would be yes. I'm not looking to just jam in a bunch of Paul Edwards and Morant across the board, but within individual lineups, yes.
Gotcha. And then Paul DZ said got 15th out of 11,000 in USFL first down and single entry, thanks to Matt Gajeski. Thank you, and keep up the great work, fellas. Yeah, dude, Gajeski with the projections. Sharp fella, no doubt about it. And then Wayne's World said, glue some chicken feathers to your sack. Those are chicken bird feathers to you, fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, that's not even a protest. That's a party. drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels mid-court while protesting. That's a party. I'll do that with you. Hit me up. And one last thing, and then we're going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for your patience today. 48 likes to 500. We are almost at 2,000 concurrent for a 3-game playoff slate. If not for Adam, if not for me, do it for your boy Jordan Klein producing today's show. Man's pulling hours. All right. How do you look at Joval at the center position? McCollum at 8,100, another one of those 8K guys. And do you think we have viable low-end value for New Orleans tonight?
So Joval is another one, like he'd be in that category that we were just talking about with, like your Chris Paul, John Morant, Anthony Edwards, where, for example, I think Bam Adebayo at $100 more clearly projects better, but in a 1-game sample, you shouldn't be surprised if Joval wins. Like it's probably, 55% Bam, 45% Joval in terms of, who's most likely to score the most points tonight, if it's not even closer than that. So at relatively low ownership, I mean, there's a massive ceiling on Joval. He played like 30 minutes last game, but we know he's capable of playing 36, 37. I like Joval in tournaments. I think he's more difficult to build around in terms of like priority, whereas I think guys like McCollum and Ingram are more mispriced, easier to get to, guys that I would expect to have a lot more exposure to. As far as value goes, Herbert Jones at 4,300, he's another one where it's not like he's a great point per minute guy or anything like that, but he's only $400 more than Vanderbilt and Tucker. He's projected for 16% ownership. Unless $400 is like really difficult to get to today, and I just haven't realized it yet, I don't know why he's getting less ownership than those guys, because his minutes are more secure than Vanderbilt's. His production is better than Tucker's. I would just like to get to him. I would like to get to Brandon Clark at the expense of those guys. Trey Murphy has played a pretty big role in terms of minutes because they do like his shooting. Those minutes can come and go. Like you could certainly see that rotation change, but at 3,400, it's not a bad spot to gamble. I will say though, he's getting 15% ownership. Jackson Hayes at 3,500. I don't like Hayes here. I don't think he plays a lot of minutes. I don't even know for sure if he remains in the starting lineup. But also, if you think that you can say for sure that, Trey Murphy's playing 24 minutes and Hayes is playing 14 again, I think you're lying to yourself in terms of like how confident you can be in these rotations. So that's sort of an interesting pivot spot. Larry Nance, I think, plays a bigger role just in general as the series go on. It is a bigger Phoenix front court, so I don't necessarily think he's taking minutes from Joval, but he's just a good player that can play multiple positions. I wouldn't be surprised if you kind of just see Larry Nance find ways to play pretty solid minutes. The issue is that he is up to 4,400 though, so it's not like you're getting a huge discount there.
All right, good stuff. Let's close this out with Phoenix. You got Greg and Eric coming up next for Live Before Lock. We've had fun tonight. Thanks, guys. You guys were fun. This has been a good time. Got us over 500 likes. Talking basketball for a playoff slate. We're in business here. Phoenix 221 total. They're 9.5-point favorites. Man, I was looking at Chris Paul. I was doing the betting video today for the Odd Shopper channel. Check that out Monday through Friday. Come sweat some bets with me each day. And I was looking at Chris Paul. I was curious what last year's playoff numbers looked like, because he's just a very good player that controls the game. And you remember he had that shoulder stinger. Yep. And he played terribly against the Lakers. He even said on the JJ Redick podcast later, like that, he's like, I don't even know why they were guarding me, because he couldn't shoot. After that series though, I forgot how absolutely brilliant he was. Like he was excellent, man. I think he had a 41-point game. He just racking up 15 assists every night. And then this first game, what was it, 2 days ago? He drops, what was it, like 30 and 14 or something stupid, 30 and 11. He's so good, man.
Yeah, insanely good. And he's another one in that
30 and 10, sorry, but 7.
He's another one in that low 8K range where he just looks really good. I think that he's comparable to guys like CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, certainly on the better side of this game in terms of matchup goes. And assuming it's competitive, he's going to give you around 36 minutes. He's around a 1.2 DraftKings point per minute guy. Really like Chris Paul here. I really like Devin Booker at 8,800. I assume he's going to get a bit more of Herb Jones, which isn't really where you want to be. But at the same time, he's only 8,800, and I just don't factor individual defense in enough to not want to get to Booker at that price tag. DeAndre Ayton at 7,200 is another one, another just good center in that price range. He's another reason why you're going to get relatively low ownership on Joval, because I think he just projects a little bit better, especially at a little bit of a discount. But In terms of, a 1-game sample size, Joval can very easily beat Ayton. So I do think that's, again, a pretty interesting pivot spot. And then you get some value too. Mikal Bridges likely to give you 38 to 40 minutes at 5K. Jay Crowder coming off of a horrible game where he played like 28 minutes, but 4,400, he's another one where I don't think there's some big difference between Jay Crowder and PJ Tucker or Jared Vanderbilt. Like, I feel more comfortable with Jay Crowder, to be honest, and he's only $500 more and getting less ownership. So I like some of these cheaper guys too. Cam Johnson played like 22 minutes. I would rather get to Jay Crowder than him, but he's pulling 10% ownership, which I get on a 3-game slate as well.
Favorite play from Phoenix?
It's kind of a toss-up between Booker, Paul, and Ayton. I would say probably Ayton.
Okay.
Cheapest price tag of the 3, and it is a Scott Foster game for Chris Paul, which I don't care about for DFS, but I am using as a tiebreaker to answer that question.
That's fair. I think I came up with the ultimate protest for an NBA game. I had some time to ruminate. Jordan, you go in there with one of those t-shirt cannons and just stuff it with salmon fish and blast it all over the stadium. That would really work too. I mean, you want people to notice, and I'm talking canned, not like you gotta go canned. Yeah, of course. Just splatter shots.
So, but you're taking the salmon fish out of the can, right? You're not just like shooting cans of salmon fish at people.
Yeah, no, I don't want an assault. I don't want a battery charge.
Right.
Yeah. You're just loading up a t-shirt cannon with salmon fish.
Right.
I'd love for the people wondering like why I'm calling it salmon fish who came into the show late right now. Like, who is this guy? Anyway, Greg and Herrick coming up next.
Why these two idiots keep saying salmon fish?
Follow Adam at Ship My Money DFS, myself at Lafayette_D. Shout out to our boy Jordan Klein, as always, and always a great sport as well. Those guys taking you all the way up till 8. Stick around after lock. They're going to have some fun, break everything down, what's going on, and talk some betting with you as well. Peace.
I'd rather pork chop dick.
these human males are going to have a good show. Nice, Ryan. Nice. We are indeed human males. Here we are. What's going on, everybody? Got the pink finger hand countdown from Jordan Klein. Man, what a time to be alive. Welcome to the NBA Live Before Lock show, presented by Prize Picks. I'm Eric Lindquist, excited to be talking this 3-game NBA slate. Looking forward to it. Lots of implications. That's what happens at the playoffs. Teams have things to play for. That always makes it a little bit more fun for me. Also, what makes it fun for me is being able to do these shows with my friend at Ehrenberg DFS. That's Greg Ehrenberg wearing, what the hell is that shirt?
T-shirt. I mean, this is just what human males wear when they're having a good time and they're about to do a basketball show.
Real live human males. Let the people see that. What the hell?
It's Stitch.
Oh, it's the Stitch shirt.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one for a long time.
This is a different Stitch shirt that I just got.
Oh, okay. Because in my mind, it looks different than the other one. So you have multiple Stitch shirts. That's a normal thing for a normal human male to have.
Absolutely. Well, maybe, perhaps not human. Who's to say? I don't think everybody that works at our company is human. I don't want to point any fingers, but there have been rumors.
What? Please hit like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Please start show good.
We have robots that work here. We have cyborgs that work here. We have Terry. There's all different kinds of people that work here. There's people from all across the globe.
We have somebody who holds their breath for 4 fucking minutes. That's something I learned on the last show. Laffy. What? Laffy can hold his breath for 4 minutes. I don't want to call BS because somebody who says something like that, there's no way that they're not being factual about it.
I want to know what activity he was doing when he found out that was the case.
That's a great question. Normally it takes me 3 seconds, but here we are. Let's get to it. We've got some NBA to talk. I'm excited for this slate, mainly my Minnesota Timberwolves up 1-0 in a playoff series. What a time to be alive, Greg. What are you looking forward to most today on this NBA slate?
Looking forward to, I don't even know. Hopefully my lineup's doing well individually.
Okay, I'm just saying from a basketball perspective, as a fan of sports.
These are probably the 3 least interesting series to me that we have going on right now. Because as far as Atlanta and Miami go, I'm pretty sure Miami's going to run away with the series. Phoenix, New Orleans, same. I'm pretty sure Phoenix is going to run away with the series. Then up for Memphis, Minnesota. Like, I've been lower on Memphis than most of the people for the entire year. I don't really know who's going to win between them and Minnesota. I assume Memphis is going to win the series. Maybe not, but I don't give either of them a very good chance to beat the Golden State Warriors in the next round. So all in all, I think these are 3 of the least appealing series to me personally. I know it's going to be different for you because you like the Minnesota.
I do. It's my team. Let's go Wolves. Going to be a fun series to watch the rest of here. I like that you're lower on this Memphis team. That would be great. I do feel like today is going to be backs against the wall Memphis. We've seen them play some ridiculous basketball in the last few months coming up to the postseason. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But let's get right to it from DFS purposes. This is where because Greg's only worried about himself and making money. But you know what? That's an okay thing because I guess that's kind of in the job description. I'm looking at these Memphis Grizzlies. Desmond Bain, Dillon Brooks on DraftKings. Super popular guard, shooting guard only for Desmond Bain, Dillon Brooks, 6,200 on FanDuel. It's an even more extreme version of that where they are just completely mispriced. First question, do you prefer more Dillon Brooks or Desmond Bain? And second question, how much do you plan to get to these extremely chalky options?
Yeah, I prefer Dillon Brooks to Desmond Bain. And it's mostly just price point thing because I have them projected fairly similarly, but Brooks is $200 cheaper over on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel he is $5,300, whereas Bain is $5,600. So when I have a similar projection on both guys, and then just one of them is a little bit cheaper. Actually, it not only is it a similar projection, but I do have Dillon Brooks half a fantasy point higher. I just end up getting to Brooks a little bit more. I think both of them are really strong options, though, and in general, I think that Memphis is the best team to get to on today's slate. They've been playing an extended rotation for a lot of the year, and we even saw in the first game of this series. I tend to think because of how that game went, they could condense the rotation a little bit, but who knows, maybe not, because the minutes they did well was when Morant was off the court, and when they sucked was when Morant was on the court. It's just been the case for the entire season. And it's kind of funny to look at those numbers, but they kind of are what they are. It doesn't mean Morant is bad. It doesn't mean the team is actually better with him off the court, even though it's really fun to troll people on Twitter about it because they get really upset. But the reality is, over the course of the season, they've had a significantly better net rating with Morant off the court, but it's really just because of how deep the bench is. But I think there's a chance that we see them condense the rotation just a little bit after losing game one.
Haha, banana. Malakar made me do it. There we go. That was my minion.
What was that?
Despicable Me. Haha, banana.
I've never seen Despicable Me. I have no clue what that is.
Oh.
Jordan, do you know what he just did?
Yeah, he does. There's no way he does. He's like, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever done. I didn't get a show.
How does the guy on the show who's wearing a Lilo and Stitch shirt not know what Despicable Me is? You know,
like
I know what the movie is.
Like,
I've just
how
never...
do you not know, bro? Chill, dude, bro.
Yeah,
like
I'll tell you how I don't know. I've never seen the movie. I've seen the commercials. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie though. I've seen Lilo and Stitch.
That was also me trolling Jordan simultaneously. It was enjoyable. It was a 2-for-1 special at Kmart. Oh, rip Kmart. Are you overweight on both Dillon Brooks and Desmond Bain?
Let's see. Most recent ownership projections on DraftKings. Bain is 30%. Brooks also 30%. FanDuel, Bain 60%. Brooks 60%. Yes on DraftKings. On FanDuel, yes to Brooks, no to Bain.
All right. Gotcha. And yes to Brooks for me over there as well. I don't think I'm going to go over on Bain too. There's just so many lineups you're going to have to compete where the two are going to show up. And unless you're going to play some deep flyers, which might not be as advisable as most slates. However, there's one guy at the guard position I'll get to a little bit later that I need your take on because I might be in trouble if I roster this guy too much. But Michael McKinney, $5 super chat right out of the gate. Shout out to my fave duo helping me make multiple cash game wins. Can I get my usual? You know what to do from here, Greg. The usual 2 favorite payups, 3 value plays, go.
Yep. So we've got our guy Michael McKinney asking about our favorite options over on the FanDuel slate. And let's see, pay up options. There aren't that many pay up options for this one relative to some of the other slates over recently. There's no Embiid, there's no Jokic. But let's see, the ones I'm getting to the most, Morant for sure on FanDuel as a pay up option. Let's see, who else are we going to call pay? If Jimmy Butler counts as a pay up option, him at 8,200 on FanDuel would be the other one for me. So I'll start with that. Those are my 2 pay up options, Butler and Morant. Do you see it any differently?
No, and I mean, there's not like the crazy pay up Jokic, Embiid, Giannis types that we have here. So there's only a limited way that you should really be going in terms of raw projection. Jimmy Butler, yeah, maybe at 8,200, you don't call him the tippy top pay up, but just because somebody's expensive doesn't mean they project out better. And Jimmy Butler just projects out phenomenally well. 42 fantasy points. That's better than everybody but Trey Young, John Morant, and Karl Anthony Towns for me as far as spend up. So 8,200, tons of utility on FanDuel.
Yeah. And then as far as value options go, you know, if we're talking about cash games and just where they're priced, I think we have to say Brooks and Bain as 2 of them.
Yep.
And then the other one, on
FanDuel, I think you have to say either, depending on your roster construction, Patrick Beverley or...
He's 5,700 though, but...
For a cash game situation, I mean, it's got to be him or Bridges, 5,400 Bridges, but I don't know. It's whoever the other values are that just kind of fall into your lineup. I think you prioritize Bain, you prioritize Brooks. Those are no-brainers. You prioritize Butler, and that's kind of a no-brainer. Everything else kind of has some utility in different spots. Guys that are projected a little bit more closely, which is why I'm playing a little bit more of the ownership game in tournaments for some of these other guys. But in terms of cash, I just have to see the whole lineup. Like Jared Vanderbilt projects out well on FanDuel, but I don't think I would be willing to embrace him in cash at 4K.
Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to say Steven Adams. You know, it's funny because Adams was so popular last slate, like ridiculously popular. If I remember correctly, it was something like 40% owned on FanDuel and 30% owned on DraftKings. I don't know the exact number, but it was something along those lines. He gets into foul trouble in that game, and all of a sudden, nobody wants to play him now, even though his price has gone down. So he is 4,600 on FanDuel after he was 5,100 last game. Is our outlook that much lower on Steven Adams at a cheaper price point just because of foul trouble last game? Like, I think this is a great bounce back spot for Adams because last slate he looked a little bit over-owned when we saw the Grizzlies play. And now I think he's going under-owned relative to his price. So I'm inclined to give him out as my third value play there. And Bain, Brooks, Adams, and then the pay-up options being Jimmy Butler and John Morant.
Yeah, the Adams thing, I mean, he picked up 2 personal fouls quickly there in the second half. That brought him up to 4, I believe. And then he just kind of stayed at that number. It's kind of a weird situation with this Brandon Clark rotation. He came in at the 7:37 mark, stayed. I don't really know what to make of it. Brandon Clark closing as well. A lot of weird stuff that I saw from the Memphis side there, but they were trying to make a run towards that third quarter. They cut into the lead, brought it back to even, and then Minnesota ran away there towards the end. There we go. Jordan Klein coming in, saving me, because I was just about to say, MLB main slate projections, those are free, but it's the NBA player projections that are free. What a stud Jordan Klein is. Smash the like button for my friend, the best producer in the game named Jordan Klein. No doubt about it. Not even remotely close. Plus, he knows who the minions are from Despicable Me. It's kind of embarrassing. Greg literally.
Well, I know who the minions are. I just don't know what the impression is.
Banana.
Yeah, like I don't know what that. Should I watch it? Is that a good movie? Should I watch it?
Yes, I think the Despicable Me is good. I think was either the second or third one. The one Kristen Wiig is in, I really liked that one. And then the Minions movie is awesome, like surprisingly awesome. I very much enjoyed it. This should not surprise anybody. Chat, enjoy.
Red Skittles in chat says that you sound like a minion without even trying. I don't know exactly what they sound like, but that made me laugh, even if I don't totally understand it.
Keep going with guards. Red Skittles, strike one for today. Keep it coming, baby. We'll see what happens. Spend ups. We have John Morant, Trae Young, Devin Booker, Chris Paul. Lots of spend ups here at the guard position that you can get to. Well, CJ McCollum, of course. Brandon Ingram, if you want to put him in the bucket of shooting guard, small forward. Who's your favorite guy to pay up for here on this slate, Greg?
So it's different FanDuel and DraftKings because of the pricing and whatnot. So on FanDuel at guard, it's Ja Morant. Morant, we saw last slate also. Morant was just so crazy underpriced over on FanDuel. And once again, just doesn't really have an appropriate price tag at $9,700. So on FanDuel, it is Morant for me. But on DK, I gravitate more towards Devin Booker, who's making it into a lot of my lineups. He's $8,800 over on DK. He played really well in game one. He also played a massive role. He played 41 minutes. He ended up scoring 45.5 fantasy points. I know ultimately it was Chris Paul who carried a little bit bigger of a load down the stretch in that game. So for me, though, I personally prefer Booker a little bit to Paul on this slate. So he's my favorite pay up guard over on DK. FanDuel, it's Morant at that $9,700 salary.
Do you factor anything into the referee game that's going down? The Phoenix Suns versus the NBA officiating crew in Phoenix.
No, I do not care who's officiating the games
Scott
at all.
Foster
And not only that, I think the absolute lamest thing that happens on Twitter and sports betting in general is anybody who loses a bet or anybody's rooting for a side immediately blames the ref. And it happens on both sides too. Like you see a game the other day, the Sixers are playing the Raptors, and I follow beat reporters and stuff for both teams and fans from both teams. You've got Sixers fans saying that Embiid's getting hacked on every play and isn't getting called. Raptors fans are complaining they're never getting calls. And then it's just every single game, everybody sees the refereeing so just in such a biased way. Refs miss calls. They don't have it out for any one team. Every once in a while, it's going to go a little bit this way or that. I've never seen somebody be like, oh, the calls are going in our favor. I've never seen anybody with that take online before. It is the lamest thing to blame any kind of betting loss on as the referees. No. You just bet a shitty side.
Greg,
it doesn't matter.
You're not a fan of any team, are you?
No.
You don't know what this is like then. So your take doesn't matter because you're wrong. If you're a fan of a team, you have to have something to make you feel better about the despicableness that is your team and their problems. And sometimes officiating can help you over the edge. Look at Jordan Klein. Nod. I got confirmation. I'm right. It's only because you're not a fan of a team.
No, it's because it's because I'm not crazy biased about anything, which I guess is part of being a fan. But so my brother is a fan of, and by the way, I know people in chat are saying, yes, individual refs have been caught fixing games. Every single game, people complain about the officiating online as the reason for why games go a certain way.
But it should be better.
So my brother is a fan of Indiana basketball and is a fan of whoever else he is. Every single game, he thinks anytime they lose, it's because of the ref. Every single game, when I ask him what happened, there's some story about the referee. they don't play nearly as big of a factor as people like to think.
I'd say everybody hit the like button, but after that take, I don't know. It's I get it. I know what you're saying because I think we can be very quick to judgment, but my God, they have a lot of impact in things. It's brutal. It's sad.
Which, by the way, also just to go back earlier in the season, when people were telling me the reason that the Lakers were a bad bet to miss the playoffs at 13-1, the number one reason that people told me it wasn't a good bet is because the NBA would rig it to get the Lakers into the playoffs.
All right. I just lost the super chat, but I know the question. I can't remember exactly who it was that brought it up. I think it was 299 asking about Adams. Are we going Adams over Clark? I'm guessing based on your answer to the first part that yes.
It was Ray 205K. And I personally prefer Steven Adams. Once again, Steven Adams got into early foul trouble last game, and that was something that led to him playing limited minutes. Clark came off the bench and played well. I think most likely the scenario is that Adams plays more minutes. That's what we've seen the entire season. I don't look at one game where there was foul issues and think that this is the norm going forward. Could Cat get Adams into foul trouble again? Only if the refs are rigging the game against my DFS lineups, which who knows, maybe that if Steven Adams gets into foul trouble, I'll blame the referees. But no, for most of the season, Adams has played more minutes than Clark. I prefer Adams.
All right. Jorge Hakem. Okay. I said that. Now you had to double check. I was making sure. Jorge Hakem, what's up? I didn't get in trouble. That's a great name. I like that name. $10. How much of Cat is nice to have on 150 lineups on DK? And who are your top 3 and lower 3 that you have in most of the lineups? Thanks as always for the show and advice. So let's break this down. Cat, how much do you have in him if you're making 150 lineups today over on DK?
Let's see. I only played 20 lineups on DK, but I will run a crunch right now with 150, and I'll tell you how much I get to in my projections.
I mean, 300 baseball lineups and 230 NBA lineups. Let's go, team.
All right. Well, I am not an insane person, so that is not what I have done. But I'm running the crunch right now, and once it finishes, I'll tell you what I got on Cat out of 150 lineups. So if I was running 150, I would end up with Cat in 36% of lineups.
Look at that. Look at that exact number, 36%. Top 3 and lower 3 you have in most of the lineups. I think we've talked about the Bain. We've talked about a number of these guys already here in terms of value on FanDuel. I think it's hard to say that you're not going to be looking at guys like Bain, guys like Dylan Brooks is the priority for both of us, but still. Then top 3 and lower 3 that you have in most lineups. I don't know what that means specifically.
All right. So who are the top 3 and the lower? So I think he means the 3 expensive and 3 value options.
Okay. That's more applicable. That makes sense. For me, Devin Booker, 8,800 over on DK, CJ McCollum, 8,100, getting to lots of him, like just a crazy amount of him, and Brandon Ingram.
It is Booker, McCollum, and Towns for me on DK.
Okay.
And then Towns for value options, I don't know. What price point do we want to make the cutoff for value?
Say 5K and down.
Okay. So guys who are 5K and down, Bridges.
Mm-hmm. I guess we talked about the 2 guys, so we'll go 6K and down. We can, the value has to be.
If it's 6K and down, the answers are going to be, so the 2 clear ones from here, Adams and Bridges. And then there's not really a clear third. Those are the clear top 2 for me though.
All right. My filler arc 499 asked Adam the same question and would like to get your opinion. Morant plus Beasley or Edwards plus Russell. Do we have a site for that? My filler arc. Do we have a site? No, we do not.
I'm pretty sure he plays on DraftKings, right?
Okay. Morant, Beasley, Edwards, Russell sounds, I mean, is that going to be close salary wise? That's not going to be. Oh yeah. I guess it would be closer salary wise because Morant much more expensive comparably because Edwards is crazy expensive on FanDuel.
Yeah. So I don't love the idea of having Edwards and Russell in the same lineup. So that has me go Morant, Beasley.
All right. Poppy Rocks, member for 6 months. Great to see the badge. Lover of all, fan of none. Hashtag Team Greg. There it is. And green checkmark, member for 5 months. When you're Team Greg, but Eric gets all the calls. I do get all the calls. I'm a lucky bastard is the right way of looking at it.
Yeah. And by the way, for all the people who keep bringing, I understand there's been individual instances where refs have fixed games. It does not mean that 100% of games, the
means
refs
100% of the games, Greg, you are crazy if you don't think officiating matters.
It matters, but if you lost a bet, it's not the reason why. Like people have these absurd takes, like the Raptors fans that are complaining about the officiating in the first 2 games of the series. They lost by a gazillion points to the 76ers and half the team is out. It wasn't the reason they lost.
I'm gaslighting a little bit. Before we get to the rest of guard here, talk about some value options. Let's do this. Awesemo Plus tools and content, $29.95 for the weekly pass. Do you want premium content? I bet you do. Do you want to have ownership projections, player projections, boom bust tool, lineup builder, so much more that we have to offer? And now MLB, top stacks tool, top pitchers tool. In the MMA, the top fighters tool. In golf, the top golfers tool. Everything you could possibly want. $29.95 for the week, but $4.95 if you just want the NBA fixings. That's going to be good here for the next 2 months because the NBA is still going. We are rocking. It is good times. Check out everything here. Stop guessing, start winning. Join Awesemo Plus today. All right. We talked about the expensive guys who prefer the mid-range. Are there any cheapy guards? And before I bring up my guy that I'm very, very nervous about that I think could be like your one point of differentiation, because that's really what you're kind of trying to hope for, is that you can find the one guy that's just going completely underrepresented in the projections at different spots. Is there anybody sub 5K that you're interested in at guard today?
Not like in a crazy way. I have some Max Strus exposure. I have some Kevin Huerter exposure. Just the fact that Strus is cheap and he started last game. I don't think he's going to go out and play, 35 minutes or anything, but he played 25 last game. And for most down the stretch of the season as a starter, we saw him play, 25 to 29 minutes. And on a slate where particularly on DraftKings, there aren't that many cheap guards I like getting to. He is the one that stands out the most to me. I don't love him as a points per minute fantasy producer, but once again, he's cheap. He's going to be playing minutes. He's starting. So that's something that has me gravitating towards him. But I'm curious to see who you have, because it seems like you have a Jordan McLaughlin or somebody way off the board type player about to throw out here.
Gabe Vincent. He played 25 minutes last game, and I know that it was a blowout. I know that he played the entire fourth quarter of a game that had already been lopsided to that point. And I know it's game one, but these are the playoffs, and this is a very condensed rotation where you didn't even see Victor Oladipo touch the floor. We had so many questions from people about him. We had no interest there. And I thought one of the main pieces of interest is I didn't know between him, Caleb Martin, and Gabe Vincent how it was going to pan out. Gabe Vincent played a minute and 20-second stint and then followed it up by playing 10 minutes consecutively in the second quarter. I know it got wonky, but you're telling me that I'm going to get a guy who played 12 and a half minutes in the first half at completely zero ownership. There's an opportunity for him to get up to 18 or 20, surprisingly enough, and he's sub 4K. He's really the only guy, and I do mean like the only guy sub 4K, because Alvarado, he's going to get some attention just because he's there. Delon Wright's at 7.7%, but Gabe Vincent is 1.5%, and I haven't projected for 18 minutes. Can I get you behind Gabe Vincent as an absolute punt, not to get play like 30% of or something ridiculous, but to be kind of a contrarian point of leverage?
Yeah, I mean, I if I had to go sub 10%, I'd prefer Malik Beasley a little bit. I think there's slightly more upside there, but I'm not enthralled with playing either of them. So, I mean, it's a 3-game slate. He's projected for what, 1% ownership?
Yep.
So, yeah, 1% ownership, fine. If you're playing 150 lineups, you have them a couple lineups, go ahead, so be it. If you're playing a single entry lineup or 3 max or whatever, then no, I wouldn't recommend anybody plays him. But yeah, the way I know you intended, I don't have an issue with him as a contrarian option.
Yep, that's the way I intended. It's a guy that if you're playing a $4 or a $15 and you're trying to go up and win a tournament today, I think he's a guy completely off the board that I haven't heard a single word about. And anytime I see 25 minutes, once again, I know that whole fourth quarter, I don't expect that, but there's paths where if he's the guy who's going to be playing over Oladipo, if he's going to be playing over Caleb Martin, if he's going to be backing up Lowry, I expect him to be backing up Lowry here in this spot. And I don't mind Lowry here, 6,300 on the DraftKings slate, seeing a lot of attention and talk about him in chat. Of course, he's going to be on the floor a lot more. Of course, he's the guy projected for 35 minutes. Do you have Kyle Lowry interest on this slate?
Let's see, Kyle Lowry, and I mean, it's relative for
Correct.
A 3-game slate, but he's not someone I'm getting to all that much of. And I did play a good amount of him in the first game of this series. And I do think he's a little bit underpriced on DK at 6,300. Over on FanDuel, Lowry is priced at 7K. I think that's a slightly more favorable price point, but he's also picking up 18% ownership. Relative to where the field is at on Lowry, I don't really have that much interest. I'm underweight to the field on both sites.
Jordan Klein, I hate you. Green Gang, $5. How many players from the Memphis-Minnesota game is too many? And is it okay stacking Young and Morant in FanDuel cash, Greg?
Let's see. Where was that? We also, here it is. Okay. I see the super chats now.
Jordan tried to get me off my game, but I'm laser focused today. None of this garbage. Don't bring that. I don't like
Jordan. Jordan asked that question like he was propositioning though.
Knee slapper. Shut up, idiot. God, $5 green can't go.
That's by the way probably my favorite response you've ever had to anything Jordan's ever said. So how many players from the Memphis Minnesota game is too many? Is it okay to stack Young and Morant and FanDuel cash? Yeah, Young and Morant, I have no issues with those two being together. Morant is a much higher priority cash option than Trey Young is, though. As for Memphis, Minnesota, the most I have from any individual one team is I have some lineups with 4 players from Memphis. As for Minnesota, I don't have that many lineups with multiple Minnesota players, but 4 from Memphis is not an issue for me.
Okay. Ben Anthony, $1.99. Eric, my bro. What's up, dude? Missed you yesterday. You look great, man. Thank you. Black circle. It's just a black circle. It doesn't even have an avatar, but you look great too, Ben. Appreciate you. Ben Bennett. A lot of Ben Bennett. That's a great name. Hey, I'm Ben Bennett. $2.99. Thoughts on Markeith Morris for FanDuel purposes, Greg?
Soft. Don't play him. So,
but made also of paper mache.
I mean, nothing was funnier to me. The Markeith Morris got pushed by Nikola Jokic and then had to sit out. How much time did he miss from getting pushed?
It was like 3.5 months. He had a neck injury, right?
So the bigger point too is that he's pretty frequently been a DNP coach's decision. He also didn't play in the first game of the series. So I would not recommend playing Markeith Morris. By the way, games he missed because he got pushed by Nikola Jokic. A shove from a big Serbian man who then he claimed up he could beat up on Twitter afterwards, and his brothers. Markeith Morris got pushed and then did not play from November 8th until March 12th.
Oh, there's a lawsuit. That is absolutely something he is setting up with it. I mean, he's got union protection, but does that matter if you commit it's not a felony assault? Just like if you hit a guy, that's not a felony.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. But that aside, I don't think if he's in the rotation, it's going to be a minor part. And then I think there's also a pretty good chance he is in the rotation. So Ben Bennett, I'd say don't play him.
Manny C, $5. Last minute man in on FanDuel. Pay up Edwards or Booker and why? Thanks in advance. You are so welcome, Manny C. Greg, tell him why it's Booker.
Because he's been a significantly better fantasy producer for the entirety of the season. And I mean, here's the only real concern I'd have about Booker is just, do the Suns just totally smash the Pelicans and then Booker doesn't get fourth quarter run? But considering how the last game went, where the Suns were up like 20 something points and then the Pelicans were able to cut the lead to 6 in the fourth quarter, that's probably not even going to be the case where the Suns ease off the gas pedal. So it's just Booker to me. Any way you look at it, Booker was better this season. We're not even that far removed from what Edwards was like a month ago, priced at 6,600 and people didn't want to play him. Maybe even more recent than that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's a real thing that happened in the world.
He was 6,700 3 weeks ago and people didn't want to play him. Now we're in a playoff atmosphere where he has a fairly difficult matchup against the Grizzlies, and we're trying to figure out who's better between Edwards and Booker. And this isn't to say that the takes about him were right then, but I mean, people didn't want to play him when he was at his floor, and now people want to play him when he's at his ceiling. So
if you didn't play him at his floor, you don't deserve him at his ceiling.
Exactly, Eric.
That's the relationship advice. Jordan Klein, take some from me.
Real talk. Devin
real
Booker,
talk, bro. From Lilo and Stitch to Despicable Me. Real talk, my friend. Also, real talk, prizepicks.com. What?
Oh, no, you could do the ad read. I was going to ask if you had any Minion shirts because I do have multiple Lilo and Stitch shirts.
I have a lot of X-Men t-shirts. I have like my Wolverine. I have flat out X-Men. I have a lot of Iron Man t-shirts. That was kind of my guy growing up.
Why don't you wear them on shows?
I do wear them on shows. I wear my X-Men one quite a bit. I wear also my Iron Man one. You just never noticed, Greg. Yeah, I got the Jordan Klein confirmation head nod. I do wear them a lot. But you know where I play a lot, Greg? prizepicks.com. And you know why? Because I live in California. And if you live in a state where there isn't legalized gambling, this is the number one place you can go to get prop exposure plus. look at this on the screen. 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you deposit up to $100 and you sign up and you make your first deposit at Prize Picks. Say it ain't so, but it is. No sharks or optimizers over there at Prize Picks. We get 5, but you can go 2, 3, 4, or 5 player lineups if you want to call them as such, cards if you want to call them as such. You can up to 10x your entry fee. Plus, if you play the 5 player parlays, you still can 2x your money if you get 4 or 5 right. 3 of 5 gets you 0.4x back, so you still get some of your money back. That's a little bit more interesting sometimes, especially if you're trying to react to some late news and just getting everything out as fast as possible. Getting all 5 players out there, hoping to hit 4 or 5 just to at least double your money, and then still have the opportunity to 10x. It's a really fun way to get some prop exposure. So download it over at the App Store, Google Play, or head to prizepicks.com. Plus, we have a free PrizePicks NBA prop tool directly on OddsShopper. So head to oddshopper.com. Check out the parlay builder we have for PrizePicks. Greg and I are going to be screwing around with that after the show. Looking forward to half an hour with our friends over at PrizePicks. Thank you so much to them for their sponsorship of the Live Before Lock show. All right, I'm going to do the super chat. Jorge Yakum again, coming in hot with another $10. We'll touch on this, then we'll get to forward. We will keep it moving. How would you prioritize Adams versus the other centers and DK in 150 lineups? So that's the first portion, Greg. And then second portion, there is literally a 3v3v3 that is on the page. So I hope you have that one listed.
I do.
Okay, beautiful. You're so great at life. Prioritize Adams on DK for me.
Number 1, he's the center I have the most exposure to today, and I think it's warranted. His price point is as lowest as we've seen in a very long time, and at least ownership projection wise, he's not projected to be all that popular with the asterisk being relative to a 3-game slate. Because we have Adams right now projected for, let me refresh to see if anything's changed in the last few minutes. Looks like it is not. But so Steven Adams, by the way, did you see the piece of news we just got?
Yeah, John Collins starting.
Yes, we'll talk on that when we go to forwards. But 18% ownership for Steven Adams at 5,200 over on DK, and then FanDuel 4,600. He's my favorite center play on both sides. Not to rehash the exact same talking points had about Adams before, but I mean, he was one of the, if not the most popular center play on the last slate we saw with the Grizzlies in the playoffs, and he was more expensive then. He got into foul trouble, people got off him. Assuming he doesn't get into foul trouble, I think people are going to wish they were on him again.
All right. Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot. Hoes all on me.
That is the story of Eric's life.
What can I say?
A retrospective.
Campaign in the membrane. All right. We're going to keep it rocking, my friend, to the forward spot. John Collins announced as starting for the Atlanta Hawks here. He didn't start, obviously, against Miami last time out, played 21 minutes, and it was a blowout. Oh boy, did he just become my favorite guy to get to here? He's 14% right now. Oh boy, I'm nervous how much John Collins I'm going to get to if I put him in for 28 minutes. What do you project his minutes for? By the way, shout out to News God, keeping us apprised here of chat. John Collins, how much do you want to roster him today with this news?
So I'm curious to see what his ownership ends up being, because if he's going to be contrarian a lot, if he ends up being popular, then yeah, I'm still going to like him a lot, but not nearly as much as I would otherwise. If he's going to be a contrarian play, he's going to be in almost all my DK lineups because this is just a really cheap price for John Collins. And considering the situation that the Hawks are in, it's a playoff scenario and they're down 1-0 in the series. The other thing also is with John Collins, remember the time he missed, he had that egregious finger injury when he posted it on Twitter. His finger was super, super crazy swollen. But also with Clint Capella out of the mix, like I don't think a finger injury is going to be a reason that they can't play John Collins regular minutes. So being conservative, I think it makes sense to give him 28 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays north of 30 and potentially even well north of 30 in this spot.
All right. I'm firing him up. I will say it's the first game right off the bat, 21 minutes now until lock. I don't think people are going to react to it enough. There's MLB going on. There's NHL if you partake in such things. There's a lot of other things going on than just playoff basketball. I know that this is the late swap du jour sport where we're always on our heels, always prepared for such things. And yet something tells me he's not going to get over like 35%. He might in like the $20 on TK, but I doubt he gets there in any kind of a significant way, even in the 60,000 entry, $7.77 over on FanDuel. I find it hard to believe he's going to be crazy popular the way that he should be.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Once again, I'll be interested to see what the latest ownership projections are when they come. We only have 20 minutes until that game locks, so that it definitely helps us that it's the first game of the slate. But John Collins, like, what's a reasonable expectation for Collins price-wise? Well, before he got hurt, he was priced in like the mid to low 6K range pretty regularly. But also remember, they had Clint Capella then. And now when you're taking Capella out of the mix, also, this is a pretty big boost for him. So by the way, it just started pouring here, but that aside, John Collins is, as of right now, just rerunning my lineups, my most rostered player.
I have 78% of him if I put him in for 29 minutes.
And I think that's a pretty conservative minutes projection.
Yep. I'm just saying that's gigantic. So, I mean, I might end up, am I going to lock button somebody on a 3-game slate, on a playoff slate? You know what? I will say, I don't think that is necessary because of how many guys can go for 40 in this mid-range. But he's the most likely guy under 5,200, 5,500 for me to do it on DraftKings. So there you go. This got interesting.
And then let's also talk about him on FanDuel, because it is a different scenario. He's 5,100 on DK, but on FanDuel, he is 6,100, which I think is a little bit more of a fair price point. Not necessarily that it's what we've seen him relative to his ceiling, but I'm rerunning FanDuel lineups right now. And John Collins is somebody who wasn't even really in my player pool on FanDuel before. And now rerunning it, it looks like I get to around 25% John Collins.
Yeah, John Collins is the second most popular guy in the boom bust tool coming into today's slate. Now that he's starting and everything else is there for him, obviously his optimal percentage and his ownership are both going to skyrocket. But I don't think they're going to skyrocket enough. And that's what we're talking about. 19 minutes to go. People see he's starting. Maybe people assumed he was going to start. I don't think that's the case. His projections surely weren't indicating that. He didn't start last game. So I'm here for John Collins' life. Does that do anything for Akong Wu for you? Does that hurt anything specifically with Akong Wu having him start as opposed to Gallinari?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, Gallinari is starting. You're not getting Akong Wu starting in this spot now, so it's different in that regard. But is Akong Wu still somebody you're going to get to as opposed to, him not starting now this time around?
Well, I was already not really getting to him, so now I'm especially not getting to him, I guess. Because where do the extra minutes that are going to John Collins, they directly come from Akong Wu, and I assume if Collins is playing well, they're just going to give him the extended run there. So, this very much impacts Akong Wu.
All right, my filler arc, $9.99, and we're going to fly through the forwards so we can get to centers. And we're not going anywhere, though. We have half an hour that we're going to be covering, watching this Atlanta-Miami game, hopefully having John Collins go nuts based on, it sounds like what we're going to be doing with our lineups here. But $9.99, my question was for DK. Thanks, Greg. Also, Greg, we both know that we only lose in fantasy because DraftKings makes sure the refs go against us. It's all Bill Gates' fault and something about frogs.
Let me make sure I've read this to be sure that I haven't. Also, my name is Potential Conspiracy. That's too many G's in my name. It's Greg, not Gregg. Anybody? I don't know why anybody spells Greg that way.
Oh, Greg has 3 G's in it. When it's posted on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah, I'm different though. I'm not some lizard alien fish man who flashes people. I'm only some of those things. But
when I go to a club with people, we on each other.
Gregg. Of a question was okay. So we did answer this question from a DK perspective before.
All right. And we got to do Yakum. And this is going to lead us into forward because he's got his 3v3v3. And I think it allows for you to talk about a forward that you might have the most interest in. Beverly Ingram, Bain, Beverly Edwards, Lowry, or Morant, Gallinari, Adams. So that's the 3v3 that we had pulled up before. Beverly Ingram, Bain, Beverly Edwards, Lowry, or Morant, Gallinari, Adams.
Yeah, that is... Well, Gallo gets hurt a little bit too now that Collins is starting.
Oh, totally.
But, I think it's Beverly Ingram Bain for me.
Correct.
I just don't like Gallo that much for this slate.
Beverly Ingram Bain. And that's kind of what I wanted to get to. Brandon Ingram, one of my 3 highest owned spend ups that we had talked about before. CJ McCollum, I'm in love with getting to him. It's ironic because these guys are just too cheap for how many minutes, for how much usage, for how much opportunity you're going to see for both him. If they're going to be competitive with Phoenix, which Vegas doesn't think so, they're still 9-point dogs. They were 10-point dogs the other night, but still, I'm getting to lots of those guys. Who's your favorite spend up here at the small forward, power forward spot?
On FanDuel, Jimmy Butler by a pretty wide margin. On DK, on DK, nobody. there's not a high priced forward that I'm getting a massive amount of over on DraftKings. Like I think Dylan Brooks, Mikal Bridges are the best small forward plays at power forward now. I think John Collins is the best option. So there isn't somebody I'm looking at over on DK. And by the way, the only answers for spend up options at small forward are Jimmy Butler. Well, there's Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards, and Brandon Ingram, and neither of them are making it into a ton of my DK lineups. I prefer to either spend up at guard or spend up for Cat at center. So nobody really relative to DK. Are you doing anything different?
Nope. I'm pretty safe in saying on DK, Anthony Edwards, Brandon Ingram, you can get to lots of these guys. I still think Jimmy Butler is the priority for me across the board outside of on FanDuel. Well, no, him and Brandon Ingram are both priorities for me. That's the right way of looking at it as I'm finishing up everything with Collins on FanDuel now, as well as DK. I'm getting to quite a bit of both of them here. I find them pretty unavoidable. It's so easy to fit these guys in. And now I'm going to call John Collins value. He's 5,100 on DK. That is a piece of value that we did not have before. I am getting to a crazy amount of him. I'm just going to live or die with that play today. He's my favorite piece of value that exists on the slate by a pretty wide margin. And I think he gives you more access to get another stud in as opposed to having to play a guy like, I don't know, more expensive on the top end. Dylan Brooks is 6,200. I'll still get to quite a bit. Jaren Jackson Jr., 6,500. I always thought was intriguing for tournaments at 11% on DK. We know what kind of upside can exist there, but you're definitely seeing John Collins take away from all of them now.
Yeah, and by the way, we just got an ownership update, and it's pretty modest ownership on John Collins. He's projected for 20% ownership on DK, 9% on FanDuel. I have no issue with those numbers whatsoever. I'm coming over the top of the field on him.
All right, Butler, Edwards, Ingram, we've talked about those guys. They all stand out for us, guys you should be getting lots of exposure to. This mid-range now got interesting. We talked about Collins. Who might else show up in your lineups between the 4K and 7K number here? I'll open up the entire board of forward to you.
Let's see. So 4K to 7K. All right, a lot of guys we talked about here already. Dylan Brooks, Mikal Bridges. I have some interesting guys like Brandon Clark and Jay Crowder. Max Strus, talked about him at guard, but I'm getting to so much of John Collins now that it kind of pinches the other forwards I'm getting. Like it's pretty spread out for me outside of John Collins and Dylan Brooks. Those are to me pretty clearly the top two guys, or Brooks, Collins, and Bridges, I think are pretty clearly the top three forward options. And then I'm pretty spread out beyond them.
Did you make a group with Steven Adams and Brandon Clark, or are you going to let it ride?
No, because it's only a 3-game slate. Also, Brandon Clark is not somebody I'm prioritizing all that highly. I am prioritizing Steven Adams, which here's what happens from a projection standpoint. If I'm giving Steven Adams the bulk of the minutes and just not really projecting Brandon Clark to play a massive amount, then just naturally I'm not getting to nearly as much of Clark as I am of Adams anyway.
Let's talk Mikal Bridges, because this is a guy that, for the most part, him and Jay Crowder were very popular. I know it's a different slate. We get different teams playing on different days, but they were extremely popular. Mikal Bridges played 38 minutes, only put up 25.75 fantasy points over on DK. I'm definitely going to be prioritizing John Collins more than him now, but how much Bridges are you landing on relative to his 27% ownership?
I am overweight to him on DraftKings and FanDuel. Let's see, where is he on FanDuel? FanDuel, he is projected for 28%. So yeah, I'm overweight to him on both sites right now. It's just that kind of mid-range price point. Once again, not quite as strong of an option as guys like Dylan Brooks or Desmond Bain. But even with that said, I think that he offers a good amount of value relative to this modest price point and the fact that it's the playoffs. And I think we're going to see him play extended minutes. He was the runner-up to Defensive Player of the Year. And the only reason I would say that's not justified is because I think it's reasonable to think he should have won the award. But still, I think we're looking at extended minutes from Mikal Bridges. The ceiling isn't massively high, but the floor is, and that could be more important for a 3-game slate.
All right, Weatherman, $4.99, just to give us the how's it going? It's going lovely. We appreciate all the super chats. You guys are always the best. Even, it's 11 minutes before lock on a Tuesday 3-game NBA playoff slate. We've got over 2,000 of you hanging out. It couldn't be a whole lot better. Hit that like button. I suppose that would be how it could be better. So smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, because there's great content going on at all hours here on the Awesemo channel. You want to check it out. $9.99 from D-Niz. high dollar DK single entry, McCollum and Brooks or Bain and Ingram for DK single entry, high dollar.
So those, sorry, I was just uploading the final version of my
McCollum and Brooks or Bain and Ingram.
McCollum and Brooks for me.
Same for me. Even though I love Ingram, Bain, I think, is just the weakest of the four, but he's still a phenomenal play. It's just an ownership thing. McCollum and Brooks, I want to get to them. All right. I think we're caught up there. We talked about the top end guys. We talked about value here. Anybody that you're getting to a lot more or a lot less than the field on at the forward position?
We have some questions in Discord that we should answer too.
Let's do that too. Let's pull it up.
These off. So
go ahead.
First from Perrin, he said, you forgot the second part of my question, which was, I guess he did the 3v3.
That's what we talked about. We
hit on that one.
Yep.
He asked, he might have missed it though, but Beverly, Ingram, Bain, Beverly, Edwards, Lowry, or Morant, Gallinari, Adams. We had said Beverly, Ingram, and Bain.
Yep, the first one.
And then we had a question from Supak, Double OP, Joval, DeAndre Ayton, or Bam on FanDuel.
Ooh.
Let's see.
Well, I guess Bam is power forward on FanDuel, so I guess that's a good talking point. I don't read anything into his terrible game the other night. He got hurt. Atlanta out of the water. He got hurt. That's what I'm saying. There are lots of things. I don't read anything into it. I'm playing a lot of Bam. I think you should be playing a lot of Bam on FanDuel too.
Of those guys, I have Bam projected the highest. I have Bam projected better than Valanciunas, Bam projected better than Ayton. And yeah, the gap between Bam and Ayton is less than the gap between Bam and Joval, but I still prefer Bam here.
All right. I got to go $4.99 JR, Hunter or Gallinari for FanDuel cash. Neither?
Yeah, neither of those are cash options. Let's see if we could have a better, somebody better lined up for him. So Gallinari is 4,800 and Hunter's 4,500. So that's the price point we're looking at. So let's say 4,800 for small forward.
I mean, again, I'm not playing cash. I don't know what that build specifically looks like, but I got to imagine I wouldn't want to land there. That's why I was saying Bridges, 5,400. I'd be playing him. You're going to play John Collins, 6,100. You're going to be playing Jimmy Butler auto play. You're going to play Bain. You're going to play Brooks auto plays. Like that's a lot of your core builds there. If you land them on like a Hunter or, if you land on Hunter or Gallo, last guy in, I suppose it's not the apocalypse, but I would prefer Gallo between the two, but I just think you can probably do better.
Yeah. I mean, just based on ownership, I'll say Gallo. I have him projected a little bit better than Hunter. And it's not like he's unowned. He's projected for 25% ownership. So if it has to be those guys, him, but my preferred options at small forward would be Jimmy Butler. So, I mean, we also have Brooks and Bain with small forward eligibility. So I think there's 4 players that you should be choosing in between to have as your small forward options for cash games on FanDuel. Brooks, Bain, Butler, Bridges.
He just gave us another super chat to say last man in, Gallo or Hunter. I already have Bridges and Bam at power forward. All righty. Bridges and Bam at power forward. So you're not playing Collins. You have to play Collins in cash at 6.
Well, he's not playing Jimmy Butler in cash then.
Oh, yeah. We got to play him at cash. You got to play Jimmy
I assume,
Butler in cash.
right? Unless I've missed something.
Yeah, he's saying last. I already have Bridges and Bam at power forward. All right. I don't want to say in 7 minutes. I'm not going to look at the entire lineup and say that. He did give us another $4.99 to help piece this together. I think it's pretty clearly Gallo over Hunter.
All right. So he has Jimmy. Listen, of the guys he have, I prefer Gallo to Hunter.
Okay. Good talk. Glad we had it. Anything
I don't
else
think you
for
have to play. I do like John Collins a lot. And I would say that he probably should have him in there just based on how much I like him. But he's not all that popular either, unless we've gotten an ownership update. John Collins on FanDuel is projected for 9% ownership.
So crazy to me. That's just crazy. I'm updating everything over there too, again, to just get so much more than that. It's ridiculous.
We got a question from Rounder Boy Nate in our Discord channel. The answer for me, I'm pretty sure, is going to be nobody, but he wants to know who is our favorite play on DK who's the flat min at 3K.
I don't have a single one.
Let me see. I'm kind of curious to see who I've projected the highest at the flat min.
And then we got a flat because we got 6 minutes to cover center.
Yeah.
We did a pretty good job as we were going. which is kind of the whole point of,
Yeah, don't play anybody for the flat men.
Jalen Noel would be the guy that if he got on the floor could actually do something with it, but I'm not going to play Jalen Noel.
Yeah, nobody. Sorry, Rounder by Nate. Don't play anybody for the flat men.
Womp, 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 womp. All right, center position we go. DraftKings FanDuel. I'm playing a little bit more over on DK, so it's going to be more applicable. I think you play a lot of Cat sub 10K. I think you play a lot of Bam 7,600. Jonas Valanciunas is interesting, a guy we haven't talked about yet. I know you love Adams. I know you love Cat. I know you like Bam. What are you doing with Jonas Valanciunas on this slate?
I'm not playing a whole bunch of them, and I see a path upside for him. It seems like this is a matchup where they're going to prioritize playing him more than Larry Nance to match up against DeAndre Ayton. We saw over 30 minutes from J-Val last game, but there's just other center options I prefer at this point on both FanDuel and DraftKings. So if there's somebody on the slate who burns me, if I had to make a group of guys who I'm not getting a lot of that I think could crush me, Valanciunas is one of them. But now we have, at least on DK, Adams, Collins, Towns. Those are the three centers that I'm really getting the most exposure to. And then even in that same kind of Valanciunas price range, I prefer getting to Adebayo and Ayton. So he's very, very low down my list of centers to get to.
All right, let's go to any other center here on the board. I'm going to open it up because once again, we've talked about most of the big boppers, Ayton, guys like that maybe we haven't discussed as much. Round out the center position for us here in the next 4 minutes.
Kind of just did. I don't have anybody else I'm getting to. And I mean, people know I like Adams today at this point. If you don't, I like Adams. He's he was the center I was getting the most exposure to, but John Collins does have center eligibility on DK. So I guess technically he becomes the center that I have the most exposure to. Although realistically, I probably don't have him in the center spot frequently. I probably mostly have him in the power forward spot, just scrolling through my lineups. But yeah, I think the three centers to have the most exposure to today: Adams, Collins, Karl Anthony Towns. Is there anybody else that you also like in that group of guys you're getting a lot of?
Nope. We've covered it. I'm playing primarily Adams, Towns. Then I'm getting to Bam a little bit more on FanDuel where you can play him at power forward, but even I'm going to be just shy of the 28.9%. DeAndre Ayton there, I have 19% of here in 20. So I'm a little bit shorter on those guys because of how much I like Adams and how much I like Towns, but it doesn't mean that they're complete write-offs. Would I be surprised if they had big games? Absolutely not, but definitely not going to be priorities for me. Jonas Valanciunas, the one guy, I don't want to go nuts. I have only 4%. And on DK at guard, the one guy I don't want to go nuts, Ja Morant, I only have 4% of. So for me, it's pretty clear the guys that I'm fading. Those are really the only two true fades out of how many lineups I have going. So we're ready to rock, guys. We're ready to rock. That kind of covered it. We've got 2 minutes now before lock. Anything that we didn't cover, Greg? Somebody was talking about Trey Murphy there. I have like 4%, nothing significant.
Trey Murphy is not in my player pool for this slate. Let me see. Even if in the spot where I ran 150, I got to 1% Trey Murphy. But in the 20 lineups I'm actually playing today, I did not play Trey Murphy.
There you go. 4%. Okay. It's nothing really. He's 3,400. It's a price play to try to go up to some other guys, but I'm not playing a lot of Ja Morant, and it's just a casualty of the slate. I think I'm getting to a lot of these other guys. Maybe I'll rework something after the show to get a little bit more, but not necessarily going to be my cup of tea. We talked about Lowry. We talked Crowder. Does Crowder bounce back today?
Well, he can't be worse. Maybe he scores 8 fantasy points, but he became the first player in the history of the playoffs to post a 1-1-1-1 line.
1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1.
Yep. Binary.
Robots.
Robots. Talking about people who are not humans that work at
Robot
the company.
Boogie.
They know what you're saying.
Do you know the Robot Boogie? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Something about robots dancing.
Flight of the Conchords. We tried. We tried really hard.
I didn't try that hard, but I also didn't know. Would you have known that one, Jordan? Oh, yeah. All right. There we go. That's 1 point for me. We're 1-1 on this. On this show in terms of Jordan, whether he gets your references or not.
We tried, guys. We tried. We couldn't have a perfect show. It would almost be, we can't do it. It's like Clayton Kershaw getting pulled. We could have had a perfect show, but we're not going to, because we'd rather give you guys money and rather give you guys all the information. If you guys are going to head out, please don't, first of all, but second of all, smash that like button as you head out here, because it's just so nice to be able to talk NBA with all of you. Hopefully you appreciated Greg's advice, giving you guys all the goods leading into lock. We are there. 4:30 out here on the West Coast, 7:30 East Coast time. It is Prize Picks time. And once again, Prize Picks is the place you want to go using promo code Awesemo to get $100 first match deposit bonus. Talked about all of the ways that you can win money over there with 2, 3, 4, 5 player props. Did I mention how many sports they have to offer? They have MLB now going strong. Greg and I talked quite a bit on the last show about our favorite MLB bets that exist on the board. I didn't even do an MLB show today, I don't think. I can't even remember because it's been so long, but I mean, it was a beautiful day just to be able to research it on my own. It felt like 2019 all over again before I had this job to just like look at MLB stuff. And guess what? It can go to good use over on Prize Picks. So check it out. Greg, did you do an MLB show today?
Yeah, I'm just taking notes. Give Eric more work on Mondays. He has free time. That's no good.
It's Tuesday.
You should have brought it up. So I did, I did the MLB strategy show with Matt LaMarca today. I did a Prize Pick show, and then I did this, and I had some meetings in between. So I have checked at Prize Picks. Here's something that people should also take note of when it comes to Prize Picks. Devin Booker, they have the 14% off Taco Tuesday discount. So that means instead of the over-under for Devin Booker being at 27.5 points, you get it for 23.5. And I believe that is a strong over. Actually, I like the over on 27.5, 23.5. Pretty easy over for me. Safe to assume that's where you should be building your Prize Picks cards.
Yeah, no. If I recommended the under there, you could cut off the stream and stop it. Like the stream should have been. Well,
you could also fade it and just build other spots.
No, that's true. Smash the over on it. It's pretty easy. I think you can play up to $20 on it. I will be doing that as we speak here, building out my card as we go, combining it with MLB, USFL. Did you take part in any USFL madness here? Are you looking forward to that on Friday?
I don't know if so I'm not sure if I actually would have ended up playing or not, because there was the whole debacle where they accidentally gave out, 26,000 free tickets. So the contest filled so quickly. I didn't even have time to enter lineups. So I'm not sure. It's going to depend how busy I am by the day. I did see they still posted not quite as big as week one, but still somewhat significant prize pools. In hindsight, I wish I would have played last week because it was a free roll and the whole thing was the whole thing was just totally crazy. But that aside, I don't have that much interest in USFL. If I get the chance to dive into it and look at the projection and stuff Matt Kajeski is doing, then maybe I'll do it. Did you end up playing it?
No, not a single second. I don't know anybody except for Tiamu. That's the only guy I know who's in the USFL. That's it. That's all.
Did this game already tip off?
No way.
Because Jordan said the games are punctual.
It's about to tip. I hustle for it. $5. Brooks and Bain together on FanDuel are no good. I mean, they're very popular, but they're also very cheap. So, it's going to happen naturally.
Yeah, I have a bunch of lineups of both of them together. I think it's kind of unavoidable on FanDuel.
Can't do nothing about it. John Collins apparently got up to 31% on DK. That's still too low.
I would have played less than if I knew he was going to be that popular.
31%. I'm not looking. Let me find it here. Where are we at? Oh, MLB started off a Don 7.3 rate out of the gate. Come on. Go, young pitcher.
I would caution you against getting excited about Adon's early fantasy success, because he was my most rostered pitcher for his first start of the year against the Mets when he was the flat min, and he pitched 4 shutout innings that brought him out for the 5th. He walked the bases loaded, was clearly gassed, and then gave up a grand slam to Pete Alonso, and just like that, my lineups plummeted down the leaderboard. So I think Juan Adon has a good arm. But I would root for him to come out of the game early if he racks up some quick fantasy points.
Juana, don't screw me over.
Yeah, he probably will, but maybe not. He also, I think he ended up being not popular at all last I looked.
John Collins, first defensive rebound of the game here. First stat. It's go.
Over. We win.
And now Kevin Herter for Thora. 3-0. Let's keep it going. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun sweat to do live with you guys. But we're going to be talking Prize Picks as we go. I know Greg's got Odd Chopper up. I know he's got his own data. He's pretty good in the betting streets. So he kind of took the freebie there with Devin Booker, the over on the Oppo Taco, 23.5 points. Let's go over on the Taco Tuesday special there. What's your next favorite play on the board, Greg?
Yeah, so I want to see what's moved, because I did record a video this morning, but the Prize Picks lines do end up moving over the course of the day. So I want to see what has changed, if anything. Also, if you guys do want to find a really good free resource to find the best value on Prize Picks, go check out Odd Shopper, because we've got free projections, projected odds of winning. Also good for just regular prop betting, because we've got the projected ROIs in there, which is always good relative to what the odds are on books. Let's see. What do we have over here? I'm scrolling through the fantasy point projections right now.
I'm scrolling through the rebounds projections right now. Just all the rebounds. Mainly because there's guys that have some low. Everybody's listed. I mean, we got Jose Alvarado with 1.5 rebounds. I'm not going to tango with something like that. That's about as efficient as it gets. We will say 12.5 for Jonas Valanciunas. We saw Jonas Valanciunas put up 20 rebounds against this Phoenix team. I don't care. I'm taking the under when it's going to stand out this way. 71% expected win percentage, 56% expected ROI. If you have access to a sports book and you're able to go get this number under 12.5 at plus 120, go take advantage of it immediately. Run, don't walk. Also, Zach Collins home run. Let's go. Highest owned catcher. Let's go.
Nice. All right, that's good for me also.
I was shocked at how low owned he was. That was beautiful.
See.
Collins fire emoji, and then another Collins who's doing good things for us. Is he? I don't know. He has 1 rebound, 2 rebounds, 1 margarita, 2 margarita, 3 margarita.
So Collins. Yeah. So Collins, 2 rebounds, 2 minutes into the game. I go 36 rebounds, no other stats. Let's go. That's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, this is a good rate. Jimmy Butler with a block on Trey Young. Trey Young gets the board. Danilo Gallinari misses a shot. PJ Tucker board. Okay, I'm just we should do like a play-by-play announcing while we're going back and forth doing props.
By the way, play-by-play is one of the hardest things to do that people wouldn't realize how difficult it is. Have you ever had to do it before?
Never.
All right, I had to do it for the Madden Sims, and other than it being something I was not interested at all, it's because that also is probably part of it. Also, it's hard to get excited and bring energy for something like I just want this to end. I don't want to be here, but it is more difficult than I think most people would think it is. And the other thing to consider also, or at least a recent example we had of this, the other day during which game was it? It was during the Memphis Minnesota game where the broadcast went down. They had Mike Greenberg, Stephen A. Smith, and who was Jalen Rose doing the play-by-play and color commentary. It could not have been a bigger train wreck. It is very hard to do.
Oh man. So Atlanta was up 3-0. Now it's 10-3 Miami. Like Zoink Scoob. That's not good. We can't like that. You like that reference. Jordan Klein, do you even know what I'm referencing? Do you know Scooby-Doo?
I think everybody knows Scooby-Doo.
I don't know.
That's not
Jordan Klein. There's some things you would be surprised Jordan Klein doesn't know about. He didn't know who Mike Jones
but also
was.
You act surprised when people don't know a Flight of the Conchords reference, but then you're like, oh, do people know Scooby-Doo? As if like Scooby-Doo is way more commonly known than Flight of the Conchords.
Ryan Houston said you should be a play-by-play announcer for sure. That being me. I'd be okay at it. Except for you. Welcome everybody to the basketball game here at the Crypto.com arena.
Whoa, I like how you went. I like how you went from
Hawks.
Jason Roslin to Jason Roslin's favorite thing.
Welcome NBA DFS fans.
He loves it. You know, we found out that he doesn't even like to go on the rides at Disney. He just goes there.
What?
Yeah, he doesn't like rides. He just goes to Disney all the time.
What's the point? Is he like he likes the characters singing, doesn't he?
I don't know. I have some speculation, but I don't want to say anything incriminating. But I think the other thing too is I think it just has to it probably has to do with his kids.
Oh, it's true. I'm sure it's got to be a fun experience to be hanging out with the kids as my dog gets scolded in the other room. He's doing all right. Scooby-Doo. Yeah, it's good stuff. $1.99. My filler arc. Zach Collins home run. He plays baseball now. Yeah, he totally does. I know it says plus, but I know plays Zach with a K as opposed to Zach with an H. Beautiful stuff. Catcher for the Blue Jays. I had tons of him.
He's the second coming of Michael Jordan. Basketball and baseball. He does them both. And Zach Collins also used to play for the White Sox.
Yeah, Bo Jackson-esque, except for just two different people. All right, back to Prize Picks. I like the under on Jonas Valanciunas rebounds. I like the over 23.5 points for Devin Booker. How else are we going to round out this card, Greg?
Let's see. So we have the Booker. So one of the ones I really liked earlier was Cat for over 9.5 rebounds, but that number is now 10.
Yep.
So that no longer makes sense. I wish what we should have done was brought up whatever the John Collins props were as soon as he got moved into the starting lineup. If we were slightly smarter, that would have been something we would have done. But we are not.
We are not.
We are not. Let's see.
We should not, Eric. Stop being cringe. I'm always cringe. Is what I'm learning. Guess what? You're just gonna have to deal with it, or I don't know. There might be other stuff online that you could partake and make fun of people. Go have fun.
I'm happily wearing a Lilo and Stitch shirt that I love, and if you're asking us to be anything other than what we are, it's just not doable. Eric and I, we can only be ourselves. The Cat at 10 rebounds. I think that's a little bit more fair now.
Just a man standing in front of chat, asking them to love him
for his own ego purposes.
By the way, go follow at Ehrenberg DFS while you're at it. At Eric Lindquist on the Twitters. Come hang out with us. What do you got?
I found what I like. Karl Anthony Towns over 44 fantasy points.
There we go. Yahtzee. Let's do that. Some of these fantasy points, I mean, it's basically directly comp off of FanDuel. I got a lot of Jared Vanderbilt's at 16. How do I not take the over on 16 for Jared Vanderbilt?
16 fantasy points?
Yes.
Where do I have Vanderbilt? I have a slight lean towards the over. I don't know. That's one that I put on a card, though. I don't have that much confidence.
Yeah,
it's like a slight lean towards
but it's like a 50-50 because it's like, oh, you get the minutes or you don't get the minutes. And that doesn't seem fun.
It's like a 55-45 to me.
Yeah. Whoa. 1999 from Weatherman 7. Thanks for being you with a dancing blue thing looking in a mirror. I'm assuming that's me. Yeah, that's beautiful. I like that.
Where are these emojis coming from?
I don't know. I don't know how he's doing this, but Weatherman 7, God, we appreciate you. You are putting my kids through 0.00001% of college. I appreciate you.
Your dog is going to college?
Yeah, he has to. I mean, he's got to get a job soon. I can't have him barking on shows the rest of my life.
That is true. He's is he going to like a doggy school?
No, he was trained before we got him. He's actually a really good boy, but he's still excitable, still has a little bit of like separation anxiety, especially not so much with me, but definitely with my wife. Just
I could see he probably gets excited when you go on shows. So when your wife leaves, he gets really sad, and then you leave to go in the other room. He's like, finally, I'm rid of this monster. True or false?
Are there any MLB props I want to look at? We could look at MLB. So I'm looking at the pitcher board. We've had some really good runs betting strikeouts yesterday. Almost went a perfect 3-0 in my MLB bets. I'm going to be doing that again tomorrow. Check it out. Oakland, easy money. Dodgers -1.5, easy money. 6 strikeouts from Anaya. Got killed by the hook on the over on +115. Would have been a 3-0 night. Would have been beautiful times, but I digress. Just 2-1. Greg, I need a rebound. Sounds like me in college, but here we are. What is the prop in the MLB streets I need to get to?
Let's look at them. So I have not looked at MLB. So this will be us going on this adventure together because I have not looked at baseball whatsoever. Has the basketball game gotten out of the timeout?
I don't know, but somebody's talking about banging my wife banging my dog, and that's where I draw a line. That's where I draw a line.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird, kids. You gotta probably temper it down from there.
I also, that just the fact that somebody would be thinking that to me indicates it's something on their mind. Like that's something that they think about regularly.
Oh yeah,
it's
no,
really
the problem is not on my end. Yeah,
it's more of a reflection of them than you.
I'm aware. Give me the MLB play that we need for the day.
All right, I'm looking through the strikeouts right now.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at pitcher fantasy score too.
Let's see. Yeah, I'll look at pitcher fantasy
34.5 for Robbie Ray. Oh boy. It's pretty high. I played a little bit more Framber Valdez than I was expecting in DFS just because of no Mike Trout again. Extreme ground ball pitcher. No power in that lineup outside of Ohtani.
All right. So you're not going to like that I was kind of leaning towards Framber Valdez under 5 strikeouts.
Under 5 strikeouts is fine. He's not a great strikeout pitcher, but 28.5, I was looking at his fantasy score. I was on that page.
Oh, I would take the under on that as well.
Yeah.
Also, Sorry, but he just doesn't strike guys out.
He's also just not very popular there. We don't care about popularity in terms of prize picks. We just want winners, baby. So if it sticks out as a winner, I'm all right taking that under. I'm going to add that to the card here too. A little life hedge here, that's for sure. We'll see. I mean, Robbie Ray 34.5 is just gigantic. I like Joe Musgrove 34.5 over, but Robbie Ray maybe under. He's just going to be so popular. He had such improvement last year at Toronto.
Walker Buehler over 16.5 outs. I think Bueller's fairly likely to get through 6 innings. Wouldn't you think so?
I would agree. On DK, it was really fun trying to figure out the puzzle of what to do with Atlanta. I don't know how popular they'll end up being, but I like when they take extreme positions against good pitchers. Like Adam Duvall's 2,200. You have Ozzy Albies, super cheap. All these guys are crazy cheap from Atlanta. It's about the only viability you have to get to them, because otherwise you're just not going to roster them if they're at their normal prices against a Walker Buehler. But I do think Walker Buehler is very likely to get through that amount. Let's see, pitch count wise. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that one. I'm going to add that one to the card. Greg, I'm going to actually make a number of prize picks cards as we're going.
Oh, this is okay. All right. So got chat throwing. I think people in chat should also be throwing in their favorite prize picks prop. I mean, obviously the best way to get value of prize picks is signing up using the promo code Awesemo, but it doesn't mean that there's not other ones. So I'm curious what people in chat are looking at between the MLB, NBA. Maybe there's something else that people like, also some other sport. Like, I don't know anything about League of Legends or CSGO, but who knows?
Come on. I just know that back in pandemic day, just play Faker. Like, that's all we did was we played Faker.
Oh, there's already NFL futures up here. That is crazy to me. We haven't even done the draft yet.
Oh, I did NFL feature. Here's the thing. You tie up your money forever, but that was the first thing that I signed up on Prize Picks to do was NFL futures, because I just took a bunch of unders on some outrageous running back numbers. Like Derrick Henry, I took a gigantic position on the under because I found it very unlikely, unless he's just the luckiest person ever, that he wasn't going to get hurt eventually with his workload. Like, it just had to happen. One of these, and I knew I was going to just get it in good at some point, and it just happened to be this season.
Yeah, so I had bet overs on Derrick Henry, and he almost hit them in 9 games.
I know. I'm sorry.
So I was on the opposite side of that one that you were. But yeah, Derrick Henry, he actually hit the over on his touchdown prop, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. I didn't take that. I just took yards. I was focused on yards. I took unders on Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. There were a lot of guys. I took some massive unders, and the numbers came down to such a point where I thought I would eventually be able to take the overs on the other side, but then they kind of flattened out at around August or so, and they didn't really change, didn't really find a lot of value, but just throwing it out there. I mean, there's opportunities for things to happen, off-season injuries. You have things happening in training camp between now and September. It's a long time. September 8th is when opening day is for the NFL. That's I believe Chargers Rams are playing each other Thursday night here in LA. That is the season opener. But I'm looking at Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford as guys you could probably take some unders on, just because of how many things can happen in terms of the NFL, injuries, things of that nature. And the numbers aren't going to go down the way that they did last year. These numbers are a little bit more neutral, and kind of crazy to me that Justin Herbert right out of the gate, the guy projected for the most passing yards.
Yeah, I put zero thought to NFL so far this year.
I love Justin Herbert too, but that's just an easy under if you're going to do this.
I almost bought a helmet signed by Justin Herbert the other day because I just got helmets that came in the mail, but the Herbert one was so much more expensive than the other ones. But Herbert, yeah, that does seem like a pretty hefty number. I'd have to look more at NFL before I feel actually any good giving out any real confident predictions on this. We did get one that I should have jumped on this immediately because somebody brought this up in YouTube chat, and it is definitely in line with my rooting interest for today from Gerardo. Steven Adams over 24 fantasy points. I love that one. I haven't projected close to 30.
I love the League of Legends once upon a time. I went to the League of Legends World Championships with my brother at Staples Center, now Crypto.com Arena. Maybe Faker was retired by then, but I definitely played League of Legends before that. Obviously focused more on the pandemic during it because it was the only thing available. Yay. There we go. Marshall, get some help.
Wait, that's a thing they do? They play it in basketball arenas?
Yeah, they sold out Staples Center for League of Legends World Championships. Sold it out. It was jam-packed. We were like 15th row, and they turned the entire floor into the map. So the court is basically, you have the players up on podiums and you watch the map on the middle there. And then on the Jumbotron deal, you're able to like watch it play by play. It is really, really sick. Minions spawn. Oh, see, it all comes full circle. Minions again. See?
Oh, by the way, John
The
Collins.
circle.
John Collins going really well, by the way, now. John Collins, 3 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. Let's go. There he is. Especially at his price. Looking good.
He was just 31%. Again, I know that seems like he got crazy, crazy popular, but I got to assume if we refresh the boom bust tool, what did his optimal percentage close at? Because 38 seconds ago, it got updated here. I'm just curious what the leverage was. 31.9% optimal percentage. So a slight tiny bit of leverage over 30, but still, I didn't know where else I would want to go. 5,100 just did so much on DK.
How would you look at, because I know that because where you live, you could play on Prize Picks. I personally cannot. So I live vicariously through you and what you say about Prize Picks in our group chat. Mm-hmm. But how do you look at some of these second half props here? And I know the game is tied at 18-18 right now, but the last Heat Hawks game was very, very one-sided. What do you do in those situations for the second half props if a game is like 20 points at halftime? You're
asking the right guy, because I love second half props over on Prize Picks, just because you're getting an opportunity to react to things that are happening in the moment. And a lot of times we've seen this happen already in the playoffs, in the playing game, where guys got benched going into the second half, and we had a huge opportunity to leverage it. I'd be paying attention to the Akong Wu situation, even though he's not up there. Right now, John Collins isn't listed either. I think there's a reason that they're not listed for these second half props yet. Just it's going to be hard to imagine that that's not the best one to take advantage of here. I think Prize Picks is doing a good job keeping them off the board, because I would want to react to if Akong Wu has a huge second quarter, there's an opportunity. I mean, it's very fluid. He could very easily start that second half, but there's situations like that, whether it's McDaniels, whether it's something like Vanderbilt. There's ways to capitalize on that. Even Steven Adams might be a guy, depending on Jaren Jackson Jr., Brandon Clark, where you can get some massive value. And if Adams plays as many minutes as you and I are thinking, I might want to smash some second half unders on a guy like Clark, who I wouldn't assume would get close to the same amount of second half run.
Yep, that makes sense. And once again, we're going to need to know what those numbers are, because nothing's posted, but I understand the logic.
Hang on, just wait for it.
Wait for what?
Oh, he was just barking. I was going to say.
I thought something was going to pop up on your screen.
No.
That's what it looked like you were pointing at.
Oh, no. That would have been cool.
What is he barking about?
I don't know. Just there's a joke there somewhere. I don't even want to make it.
Well, stop. Marshall White's banned, so he can't say whatever else he was going to say.
D-Niz, $9.99, 2-game late slate. Ooh, darling. High dollar DK single entry. Adams and Bain or Brandon Clark and Ayton. It is Adams and Bain and
all
not close.
All day, all night. Adams and Bain.
All day and all night. All night. All night. Okay, I'm done. I promise. Anything else from Prize Picks that sticks out to you in the MLB streets, NBA streets, so on and so forth?
Let's see.
Corbin Burns, 6.25 right out of the gate. 2 strikeouts in the first. He's pretty good at pitching.
I love Corbin Burns.
Yeah, you should.
Let's see what else is going on in the. Oh yes, Garrett Cole's getting lit up. I hate him. He's not on the slate anyway.
Main slate, yeah. I didn't even know he was pitching today.
But really, just because he's an overwhelming favorite to an AL Cy Young, and I bet some longer shots, I just root against him every single time he pitches.
I mean, we are both all in on the. Well, not all in. That'd be a silly thing to be on the. Luis Severino train.
Yeah, I have. So I have 3 guys now that I'm in on AL Cy Young. One of them looks terrible. That's Ohtani. The other one is Severino and Verlander now.
Max Strus, 14.7 over on FanDuel.com at 4K. That's going to be good for me. John Collins, Kevin Herter, Danilo Gallinari, Trey Young, DeAndre Hunter, all the next guys, 5 Hawks in terms of fantasy on FanDuel. Max Strus, Bam Adebayo, sandwiching all of those guys. Pretty interesting start to this game.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see it's competitive, because after that, what was it, 10-3 or 10-2 or whatever start the game, I was like, well, here goes the Heat just smashing the Hawks into oblivion again. But 1918, we've got John Collins looking good, which is really all that's what you and I care about the most. Max Strus, remember when you asked me who my favorite low cost option was at guard? Do you remember what my answer was?
Was it Max Strus?
It was Max Strus.
Look at you. It's like you're good at stuff. 4K. I liked him on FanDuel a little. I hopefully you guys did as well. That would be fun right now. Even now, it's hard to imagine. He just took a personal take foul. That's kind of weird. But I guess he's not that important to this team. But 14.7, pretty important start. That's for sure at 4K. Hard to imagine that he's not going to get to 20 here at this point in time. Hopefully I didn't just jinx it, but no such thing.
He's he'll come out and like snap his Achilles on a second rotation now.
Jesus, that got dark quick. All right, Greg, this was fun talking surprise picks, fun talking everything else here for the NBA slate. I'm just looking forward to doing more of this during the course of the playoffs, being able to do half hour. I believe we're doing an hour-long show tomorrow. Is that correct? Hour-long after show? So you want to give the people a taste of what? Oh, God. How much Disney, Lilo, and Stitch can we basically bombard Jordan Klein with? How many times can I get him to cover his face in agony? How many times can I get him to look away like this and then back at me?
Not that much. I'm gonna guess he falls asleep midway through the show. That's a long day for Jordan.
Dude, bro, chill. Like I'm gonna be like chill, totally, bro, chill. I'm gonna be bro, chill, dude, bro.
Yeah. If you ask Jordan what his weekend plans are, it's dude, bro, chill. That's
dude, bro, chill. DBL.
It's remember what was the? Do you remember the Jersey Shore thing? Like
the
Gym Tan Laundry.
GTL.
Yeah, Gym Tan Laundry. That's Jordan, but he doesn't even. DBC. He's not even nearly that active.
Dude, bro, chill.
Dude, bro, chill.
Dude, bro, chill. DBC, DBL was dude, bro, like. If we want to do that as well. DBCL, dude, bro, chill, like. Dude, bro, chill, like.
Yeah, and as people are pointing out, tomorrow is the 420 show. 420 show for an extra hour.
Producer Cam will be active.
Yeah.
Or actually, Producer Cam will not be active while he's active.
Do you know what Jordan's going to be doing for 420?
What are you going to be doing for 420, Jordan?
Dude, bro, chill.
Dude, bro, chill. Dude, bro, chill. It's the season. DVC for life, kids. Also for life, hit that like button. Dude, bro, like button. That would be great. Very helpful to all of us as you guys start to get out of here. Let's get us up over 700 likes. That would be a nice way to finish out this show. Accumulate some likes on the second half of it. Not just have Lofty get all the glory as everybody who normally would hit the like button would come in. Please, 700 likes, not that far away. GTL. GL, everybody. Dude, bro, chill, like. I'll be dude, bro, high as balls. Red Skittles, that doesn't surprise me. Smoke Cam, that's probably the right way of looking at it. It's going to be like we're going into a seventh, like a seventh world. I don't know. Like the clouds are opening, but it's like hanging out with Snoop Dogg over there. We got Jordan.
The thing is that seems kind of funny as a bit if you don't think about it, and then you think about it in practice, and it's like it's not that entertaining. There's nothing to see. It's like, really, that's what we're going to do for an hour.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think we could probably partake in some things and then do that second hour. We could probably do that.
We could all. Oh, you know what we should do to close out here?
What should we do?
Let's go to Odd Shopper and find just some NBA, like outside of prize picks. Let's just find some NBA props that you and I like in general for sports books for tonight. Because there is one thing I see that stands out immediately. How do you feel about Jonas Valanciunas for under 13.5 rebounds? That's a very big prop for a guy who was benched 2 games ago.
It's like you don't even listen to me. That was my favorite prop on the board. I said it before the show. I said it during the show. I said it at the end of the show. But you know what? I like where your head's at, because as long as you agree with me, I don't really care. The money spends the exact same way. Jonas Valanciunas, it's actually down to just an 80% expected win percentage on the 13.5. It is 12.5 on prize picks, but I still like the under on it. I don't mind getting there, taking that under in addition to everything else. Plus Brandon Ingram. I think it's directly correlated. You take the under on Jonas Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram's not going anywhere. Give me the over there. I really expect big things out of Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum from a fantasy perspective. Rebounds going to be a part of that there for Brandon Ingram. Do you like the over on 5.5 rebounds for Brandon Ingram to close it out?
No, I haven't projected for almost exactly 5.5 rebounds.
Okay. We've got him at 7.4 here at Odd Chopper. I have him for right around that as well. Pretty hard for me to get away from something with a 75% expected win percentage, but I get it. You can find other boards. We definitely are in agreement on Jonas Valanciunas, but we are here. We've reached the end of our boarding walk at Ehrenberg DFS. Go follow him there. Greg, any final words for the people?
No, we've got Jonas Valanciunas under 13.5 rebounds, under 12.5 rebounds. So lots of, also one other thing. Deandre Ayton under 1.5 blocks. That's a very large number. He only averaged 0.7 blocks per game in the regular season. So give me under 1.5 on that.
I think he had a couple last game, maybe a little bit inflated. Take advantage of these recency bias things as we go along in DFS in sports betting. Thank you so much to Jordan Klein behind the virtual glass. Can't wait to see him tomorrow. I'm super excited. 420, going to be a good time over there. Check out that producer cam. Thank you so much, everybody. He's Greg Ehrenberg. He's fantastic. I'm Eric. I think I just got baseball shows assigned to me on Tuesday. We'll see you guys later.